Alright, my bad, y'all. I be having so much shit running in the background. I gotta get a new camera and everything for you folks. But hold on, let me go sign in for you guys for the chat. Let y'all know right now, y'all start spamming my chat and I'm banning. I'm banning. Banning off grid. We're not spamming. We're not doing none of that. So I'm letting y'all know right now. I'm just letting y'all know right now. Put my stuff in. Alright. Hopefully no one is flagging my videos or doing weird stuff to my videos. Sometimes people do weird stuff. Sometimes you got the moderators, they just do weird things. They try to suppress your content and stuff like that. So hopefully that's not going on. But yeah. Oh man. Oh my god, I remember that shit. Y'all remember that Taylor Alderdice? That was like the best ever. Alright, let's watch this Donald Trump promo. Let's watch this.
What started off as
That
unlikely,
shit.
impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign. Securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive. Breaking news out of Palm Beach,
The FBI has executed an unprecedented search warrant at President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The former president has both sides of the political aisle up in arms.
Dangerous and unstable moment in American history.
This dude's doing a promo video, man.
Former President Donald
This is
Trump.
7 years. They hated him.
This is
they
insane.
targeted him. They hunted him.
This is the epitome
This is
of the
kinda
abuse
funny.
of the prosecutorial power to preempt political decisions.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from
Come on,
those
get
who
some more people in the
seek to
chat
destroy
now,
it.
people.
The more that a broken system
Come on, y'all.
tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. America will always rise to every challenge and overcome every danger.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged. These types of things, I think, give him strength.
When I'm reelected, I will totally obliterate the deep state. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail.
Man, isn't that crazy? This dude's about to be president. And then I posted this picture with the dog, the Doge dog. Yeah, can't really imagine people not wanting to see a president do good, but especially people like Donald Trump, man. I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest, dude. The dude is just used to he's just used to even being in that spotlight, that kind of spotlight and stuff like that. I mean, I think he's gonna hit it off this presidency. I think he's really gonna do it. I think he's gonna do it better. I think he's gonna do it better. And the reason why I feel like he's gonna do it better is because a lot of presidents are just doing the job. They just get into office and they just do the job. But like he's actually making it entertaining. Like he's making it fun. Like he makes being the president look fun. He doesn't make it look boring and just, just doing the job. Just like, oh, I'm the president. I'm doing the job. I gotta go up there, speak to people and stuff, blah, 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 blah. Like the dude is a character, man. Like George Bush wasn't a character. He was probably one of the most boring presidents in the world. Nothing exciting or funny happened with this guy. I mean, like I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's like a celebrity, so it makes it look more appealing to the fact that like this guy is just more appealing. He's just more appealing. It's more funny and it's just more exciting. It's just more exciting. It just feels better. It just feels better. Not a typical politician who wants to just sit in office and just, you know, take the budget. Not to mention he probably won't even take the salary again. He probably won't even take the salary. So let's see. Let's see. I guarantee you he's not gonna take the salary. I guarantee you. I guarantee you he's not gonna take the salary. Cause I wouldn't. I wouldn't. What billionaire that's ever been in office gonna take the salary? Never. 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 Let's see what Piers Morgan has to say. I fucking hate Piers Morgan. I like his platform because he invites people on to talk and gives their perspective. But at the same time, I actually don't like Piers Morgan because of his platform. If that makes sense.
There's an
Listen
extraordinary
to
amount of waste,
fucking trash.
and where
Just listen to this fucking
the
trash.
strong consensus view in the DC establishment is that this is going to go nowhere, that it's just absolutely impossible to fix things, and this is it's going to be sort of a very, very frustrating dead end. The alternate view, I would say, is you should never bet against Elon. We all know there's an extraordinary amount of waste, and it is unsustainable. And the 6% of GDP deficits that the U.S. has cannot be sustained. They probably cannot even be sustained for even the rest of this decade. There are two ways to resolve them. You can cut spending and cut waste, or you can raise taxes massively. And I take this election in the U.S. for standing for the proposition we're not going to go the European-style socialist route of having massive tax hikes, and then that suggests you need to try something like the Doge thing, and that's actually what is going to happen.
But what would be wrong actually like letting others
The strong
come in? You see, it's like once it's like I'm telling you, dude, once it's not politics anymore, once it's not about politics and it's about the people, they will do anything to downplay it. They'll do anything to downplay it or make it look crazy. They just don't like the simple fact that they can't control people. They can't sit there and control the mass with just stupid political views about stupid things. And it's just not about the people anymore. It's about regulations and stuff like that, which we understand. We need regulations, we need order and stuff, but these people are just not appealing anymore, man. They're just not. They're just not appealing. They're just not appealing whatsoever. Oh, what is this? Joe Budden. Joe ending the year out crazy. Oh God. Oh God. Hold on. Let's read this. On December 4th, approximately 7 a.m. The Edgewater police were dispatched to the apartment complex for the report from a resident that the man was standing outside of of their apartment door completely naked. The caller recognized the man as a neighbor, Joseph Button Jr., a 44-year-old male. The caller was alerted that the Button, alerted to Button by the doorbell camera. The video was depicted Joe Button attempting to enter the code into the door keypad several times before re-entering his own residence across the hall. As a result, the police investigation. Button was charged with lewdness. Not sure what lewdness is, but on a complaint summons, Chief Martin states that these charges are merely accusations, and the defendant will present innocent until unreleased proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Okay, this is stupid. This is kind of funny. This old fake Nelly 50 Cent looking ass nigga. This old fake Nelly looking ass. Let's see. I know they flaming this nigga in the comments. I know they killing this nigga in the comments, bro. No, it's dope. It's dope, but I know they flaming this nigga in the comments. I had to play it back 12 times. I realized the audio wasn't for the video. It's Teddy. Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck is this? They thought I wanted to tweet. No, not really. Just wanted to look at the video. And it's still on the post. Let's see. Oh, album dropping, Playboy Cardi, The Weeknd, Mac Miller. Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now. If we need Kendrick and Drake to keep going back and forth. I just feel like hip hop was even better. It was still good at that time. I'm sorry, Daddy. 2025 this year. Happy New Year. I don't think I'm gonna see anything different in New Year. I think it's gonna still be the same clown shit. It's still gonna be the same clown shit. Oh, we gotta watch this.
Interviewers are now becoming the media.
Yes. Everybody's media. Summer Walker's media. Cameron's running like he's Stephen A. Smith. It's what we're dealing with.
Why are you saying like he's Stephen A? Why he not running around like Cameron?
He's Cameron to be that.
That's what people be mad at you about when you say shit like that.
Which I think he should lean into. Be the old villain.
OD, that was hate.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I think people be mad at you.
Oh, it's hate.
Cam is running around like he's Stephen A. Smith. No,
why is he support journalists? Because he has an opinion? Why?
But him and Mace have proved to have a good opinion that people care about.
He got Mace having a job and really like check because the bag is
there.
He was a
pastor.
But Elliot, you don't think that we all come from the culture of we all sit around in our neighborhoods in front of our buildings.
But Mark don't make you a journalist.
But I'm just saying we all sit around in our groups with our friends and talk about
our
sports,
opinions, yes.
music. That's
absolutely.
That's all these guys are doing right now.
But that's not fair. Is Shannon Sharpe a journalist?
He never was a journalist. Shannon Sharpe was never a journalist.
That's where the athlete becomes the media. That's the easier Charles Barkley. That's easier transition.
So why is it easier for the athlete but not the artist?
It's not easy, but I don't like it because, like, you imagine, like, this is the shit I do well, and not everybody want to do it, and they get the celebrity off that shit.
You don't like it because you feel like they're not coming to the journalists to have these conversations.
I'm real with that.
Which affects your bottom line.
The best I ever do is me with that. So then you want to be that off celebrity or what? So I can talk about that. I don't like that shit, and not be a hater.
Yeah.
It's reality.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
You don't like it because you don't think they're good at it?
I know I'm better at it.
Okay.
It's me. It's my life.
Okay.
But Elliot, what
Imagine
would make
it.
you better at it? Because in this day and age, it's just not about getting the information right. It's about who's more entertaining. So who are you to say I'm better at this than them when what
I'll prove it to you I'm better than you. Like, I'm the best. I'm more informed.
Are you better at telling a story? Are you better
100%.
at getting accurate
They're not
information?
better. Like, that shit cringeworthy. I watch that shit. It's not good.
Yo,
Shit ain't popping.
This
It ain't
It's
popping.
not. It's really not,
What's
though.
what's the Cameron interview? Was like, yo, Cameron really asked
It's
the questions.
not.
Like, what are you talking about? No.
But what interview did Cam take away from something of let's say we're the hip hop ilk? Even if Maul and I aren't journalists, we're still in hip hop media. You are a hip hop.
I don't watch that shit either. That Cameron and what's his face and Mace. I don't watch it, bro, because it's like you can be talking about hip hop. I feel like you know more from a hip hop standpoint than sports media. And it's cool. I mean, like, what I'm saying, you want to be a sports media narrator and stuff and all that, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, dude, like, you're a hip hop artist. And it's like, I would just leave it to, like, people like Stephen A. Smith and, like, Shannon Sharp. And even and to be quite honest, I think that's why Shannon Sharp left that. I can't think of the show, but I think that's why he stopped doing the show with School. I think that's one of the reasons why he stopped doing the show with Skip, was because I think he wanted to interview celebrities. I think he wanted to genuinely, or not genuinely, I think he just wanted that whole look of being able to interview whoever he wants to and talk to whoever he wants to. Because I'm telling you, man, when you're controlled by these people, when you're controlled by a entity that wants a certain agenda, it makes you not even want to sit there and do it, whether if it's with somebody you like or don't, or if you have disagreements. What if you come down to these disagreements and stuff? It's wild.
Pop journalist. What interview did Cam take away from us?
They have celebrity has access to different things that I may not have. And again, I feel like they underperform.
See, I think I have to push
Every
back.
time.
I have to push back
No?
there because you have had 25 years of relationships with
30,
publicists,
30,
PR interviews.
30.
The three majors where Cam is a
30.
celebrity and has relationships for him
Damn,
being in the
30?
game for 30
Wow.
years. But you have direct relationships with the majors that the rest of the podcasting world never had. So you
Okay.
still do have that. I think we have to
Yeah,
go back
because
to
he
the
was here
period at the
before
end of the
all the
sentence and what
podcasts, dummy.
the fans want. And with Cam or Young Miami, maybe they just want to be entertained. With Kai, they just want to be entertained. They don't
No,
want to be
but Raw
informed.
is
They don't
the-
want to be informed.
The access goes
I
to
get
them
it.
above me. That's
Yeah.
the problem I have.
I get it.
That's what it comes down to. You see what I'm saying? Because it seems sexy, like, yo.
Hold on, but let's get this straight. You really think Cameron and Mace are really trying to be entertaining? You think they're right? You think they're really trying to be entertaining? I think they're trying to be informative. I think people like Stephen A. Smith I think his character is just, I think he has the character to be charismatic, but also be informative, but also be funny as well too. I don't think Cameron is trying to be funny. Like, I think they're genuinely trying to be, I think they're genuinely trying to be informative, but also try to be funny as well too, which obviously that's what you want it to be. But personally, I don't know. I don't think so. No, no. I mean, if he can do that, then he might as well just talk about rap, which they're not gonna do, which is kind of interesting to me. But
The sports reporter now. Hey, woo,
Okay, but
woo.
let's not
Yeah.
act like
Right?
that's
I
not
agree.
always been hip hop or entertainment
I
at
agree
the
with
time.
Elliot.
We've seen things that were hot and then failed immediately, but at that time, that was the hot shit that people went to.
And they
That's like
No, it
any
wasn't.
They
genre.
don't have to fail. It's all good. They can do their thing. I'm just saying, like, yo, I'm competing. I want a shot. I'm in this. I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to compete.
I guess.
But that goes back.
But now you sound like the old nigga in the park that don't get picked up no more.
And I don't want to be that. You're right.
Yeah, but I'm not.
stop being that.
And I'm not saying that you are that because
It's all
I
good.
know your work.
Yes.
I'm from New York City. I know Elliot Wilson's work.
My nigga.
But
love.
I'm just I do understand at the same time, like there was a time where what I was into growing up, you know, my parents and my uncles, they was kind of like, yo, what is that y'all listen to? That's great.
Maul, it wasn't fly to be media.
No, that's a fact.
That's because 20, 30 years ago, bro, people weren't doing podcasts. Like people weren't, you know, retired. Like these people weren't retired 20 years ago, dog. These people weren't retired 20 years ago. Like media is not what it used to be 20 fucking years ago, man. Like it wasn't like people didn't have podcasts and shit. Like people didn't really have their own podcast 20 years ago. I'm trying to think, that Joe Rogan even have a podcast 20 years ago? No, he didn't. I don't even think he had a podcast 20 years ago. Most people didn't have a podcast 20 years ago, and if they did, it wasn't being talked about, and it wasn't being shown like it is now. Like it's not normal to have it wasn't normal to have a podcast 20 years ago.
Nigga, you're media.
That's a fact.
You built a whole foundation.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
But that
you did that. You did. You both of y'all.
Yeah.
Yes,
it wasn't fly.
That plus the format changing, whether it be YouTube, social
my
media.
life is that.
Because print was cool, but it was never sexy. Because
It
at the
wasn't
end of the
fly.
shit, it was just
I made
your name.
it fly. I made as fly as I could back then with double XL. Right. It wasn't that fly.
But I feel like you, and this is why I was defending you all year. You adapted, and why I think people like Kai and other streamers should look at you, because I watched you since I was a kid adapt to the new shit every time.
Yeah.
The source was the source. It was the only thing, that was it, the Bible. There could never be another magazine.
Yeah.
You shifted, went to double XL. Everyone was blackballed. All right, I'll go with the people that are blackballed. Here you go. Here's 50 Cent on a cover. Double XL. Because, like, you always shifted with that. Then when the blogs came, even though you pissed off Nah Right and everyone else because they felt like you were late to the party, to the regular consumer, you
They
weren't.
hated Rap Radar, right?
Rap Radar came.
Oh my God.
But then how all those bloggers viewed you, I think is how you're viewing someone like Cameron. Because you have all the connections and relationships that maybe SK, Low, Mech, and them didn't have. But you still looked like somebody that was at the forefront of shifting to blogs. Then we made podcasting popping. Then Rap Radar podcast came, and you took God knows how many interviews from us. But you continue to adapt. So that's why I'm shocked to hear the things that you're saying now, because I've only known you to adapt.
Okay.
And you're right.
Yeah,
I'm in
I
the
get
process
it.
of adapting.
Yeah.
I got my own Elliot Wilson experience.
Yeah, because he's had 30 years of experience, dog. Yeah, and maybe I'm sure somebody who's been doing it for 30 years may be pretty easy to adapt to certain things like that, given the experience. And like I said, it's 30 years he's been doing this. It's not like it's Cameron where you're a fucking rapper and you've already, you've been in the game for almost about 20 some years. And I don't even think Cameron makes music anymore. Like, I dead ass, I don't even think he makes music anymore. Yeah. But like I said, to be honest, dude, I'll listen to Stevie A. Smith before I listen to Cameron. I'll listen to them niggas before I listen to Cameron. Like, I'm dead ass. Like, I'm not listening to Cameron for sports, bruh. I'm not listening to this nigga for sports. I'm listening to Stephen A. Smith. Just saying, y'all. Just saying.
I'm out here.
And I think what you guys have done this year with the elephant in the room.
Let's talk about it. West
with Drake
Coast.
and Kendrick.
West Coast Wilson.
I know you're West Coast Wilson.
Let's go. What's
West
up,
Coast
Mom?
Wilson is crazy. let me just put that out there.
I didn't want to make
Calling yourself West Coast Wilson is absolutely crazy.
West Coast Wilson.
You've been in LA how many years now?
No, a little bit.
Not even 2 years, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Call it West Coast. Yo, you East Village Radio is like a staple.
Yo!
Like what are we? West Coast Wilson? You abandoned the East Village Radio?
I think Drake walked in the East Village. No security to do that.
Yeah, he did. Oliver. All Dolo like mad.
All right, so let's get to this shit.
Let's go, Mom.
Because I have some questions.
So what's up, man? Because I honestly feel like had Elliot Wilson not been relocated and living on the West Coast in California,
okay,
I feel like your stance on a lot of the whole Kendrick Drake shit would be different.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I feel like it was by proxy
Let's
of,
talk about it.
yo, it's palm
Talk
trees,
about it.
it's sunshine,
Talk
it's good
about it,
weed,
nigga.
pretty women, you know. It's like it's 60s outside. And see what I'm saying? It's Pyrus outside. Fuck it. I'm West Coast Wilson now. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like if Elliot was still living in New York City, I don't feel like your stance on a lot of things would be what it is right now, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think so.
I love you, Monk. I received that.
Yeah.
My therapist said I received
Right,
that.
but no, speak to it though. How much of it is because you were on the way? You felt that energy. You felt that, you know, the entire California.
I'm extremely disappointed that our guy, the boy, lost his battle.
But why do you feel like he lost the battle?
Because he never viewed him as a worthy opponent. Underestimated his opponents. Like he's like, yo, I take this shit
I don't think
seriously.
that's true.
No,
Now we disagree. Now we got our first disagreement. We got our first disagreement of the night.
I'm here.
I'm on the opposite side of that. I feel like
he doesn't think Kendrick's on his level.
I don't believe that.
He does not. No, he still doesn't.
I don't think Drake
he still doesn't.
I don't think Drake engages with anybody unless he feels like they're worthy.
No, but he turned everything to 20v1. Everything he did was that. Literally on Family Matters, like, I gotta get serious about it. I gotta get focused. Family Matters, he says that about the shit. He can't focus.
That's because
Kendrick.
the first part of Family Matters was from the beat of push-ups, and it felt like he probably had most of that done already.
Yeah.
And then continued on.
It was
Let me
the
take it serious and focus on
20v1
Kendrick.
shit. It wasn't like, yo, Kendrick is a threat to me. He could be greater than me. Drake never thought that.
Yeah, but I don't
Ever.
So you
I
said,
disagree. I don't think he's replying to the 20v1 shit unless Kendrick is involved in it or Kendrick was the one that's.
Nah, he never thought, he never expected somebody like Drake, someone like Kendrick to come up against him. And I think it was vice versa. But we all know at the end of the day, we all know who's the. I'ma just let it finish. I still like Drake. I think Drake still has a few good bangers. You know, don't get me wrong. I think he still has a few good bangers. But I think in all reality, I think Kendrick is winning. I think he's winning. I think he's the one that's pushing it forward. I think he's the one pushing this forward. I think he's gonna be the one carrying hip hop for the next few years, however too long. Especially after the Diddy shit, which is pretty fucking embarrassing, but yeah.
Said something on Like That. If Like That doesn't have Kendrick, I don't think he's replying to The Weeknd with. I think it's just gonna be a sub.
No, of course.
Future just a
Absolutely.
sub. I don't think we get the Metro Shut Your Hoe Ass Up. I don't think we get any of the 20v1 if Kendrick's not involved.
Well, we know Kendrick always wanted to like have the battle with dude and try to tear him down.
But everybody,
and then he was never like, he's my opponent. So when he challenges me, I'm gonna like get him right.
Well, you started.
You see what I'm saying? Makes sense, right? I started what?
The Kendrick and Drake tension was 100% your fault.
Okay. Control verse.
Control verse
Crown.
came out. Everyone laughed about it.
Crown.
Mac Miller put out a beautiful tweet. Everyone that was really.
What was the Mac Miller tweet?
Can I still use
You
like
know how
verbs
many
and similes or
rappers?
something? He said.
You know how many rappers were scared and didn't even come out after that? Like didn't say anything. You know how many rappers were put on we're like, oh man, let me get my rhymes, like let me get back on this grind and let me like actually start rapping again. Like dog, he even had he had niggas going on interviews. He had people going on interviews. He had rappers going on interviews telling them how they felt. Like that's how much of an impact he did. Like that's how big he did it. Like that's crazy.
Mac said something fucking hilarious.
Like nobody was responding with songs, dog. Nobody was trying to like. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't really hear anybody really responding with songs other than Drake. And to be quite honest, I'm gonna be. I mean, if we really want to be honest, dog, we know Drake is not a. He's not a conscious rapper, dog. I mean, he's a good rapper. He's had a few songs that like that are conscious or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But he's a pop star, man. He's a pop star. He's a pop star, but whatever.
A lot of people took it with a grain of salt that it was just competition.
Okay.
You interviewed Drake live after
No,
nothing
it
was
was
to say,
good competition.
and Drake sounded, I'm not saying this was the case, I'm just observing as a fan, sounded like he was a bit in his feelings because his temperament changed and said, yo,
like
you remember
that.
any other line off that? Which is cool. He's entitled to do that. That
absolutely.
started everything to me when he was on stage with you.
Damn.
So what would you like to see Drake do post battle? What would
Interview him.
you know what? Fuck it. Let's get to it. Same city. You in Toronto. You're in Toronto at the Rogers Center.
Yeah, I may have to check that one out. That doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, I may have to check that one out, y'all. Man, X is crazy, y'all. This is X is crazy sometimes. X is crazy. But then again, it's not. Ooh, in Dubai. I might go downtown. We're gonna see what's gonna happen downtown. Is this the oh, this is the actual. They're just showing us the video. Let's see what's on YouTube. Let's go to YouTube, y'all. I hate when it does that. See, I just clicked on the tab and it just exit out of it, like, completely. I was on this. Thought I saw something. Any day, y'all, we can load up the video. Any day. Any day, y'all. I need a thumbnail. Should I go back and put a thumbnail on my video? They probably looking like, what the hell? I need a thumbnail. I thought I had one, but I couldn't find it, y'all. Couldn't find a thumbnail. We'll make the next one better. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. There's a lot of good videos I'll be watching. I'll be watching videos, y'all. I'll be watching some good things, y'all. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I was watching. Oh. Let's see. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. Well, this ain't crazy, but you know, it's
Here we go.
It's a good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
It's a
I'm Michael
good,
Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've been wondering what in the world are the
It's a
drones,
good
in quotes, in the
podcast.
sky, and if they're nothing to
Stevie
worry
Greer
about,
is good.
why has the White House been holding top secret meetings? Then do we
Oh,
have the
you
Battle
gotta-
for
let's
Disclosure
see.
show for you?
Donate.
Today I'll be talking with Dr. Stephen Greer, founder of the Disclosure Project and the creator of numerous brilliant documentaries, including The Battle for Disclosure. And that's just what I want to talk with him about today, about the truth behind this cover-up.
I still
what
haven't
the
seen.
drones really
I still haven't seen the Battle of Disclosure. He's on if you go on X and you search up Dr. Greer, he has pretty good it's pretty good. Go on this shit. You go on his, I don't know how many are in the UFOs and stuff like that, but if you go on his website, even like people like Billy Carson. Oh yeah, we gotta watch that one too. Alright, maybe we'll just leave it to this. We'll just go back to the video though. My bad.
really are, and if we're being set up
Just
for a
go back to this.
black flag event, or if UFO contact is just around the corner. So welcome back to the show, Stephen. Are you ready to shine?
Yeah, we're ready to roll, baby.
All right. So I was just telling you off air, I'm down in West Palm Beach, Florida, and the last 3 nights in a row, I've seen these 3 things flying overhead. What in the world are they? What are these quote unquote drones?
Well, there are whole several phenomena happening all at once. A lot of the drones are actually, people are starting to look up and seeing things that were always there. All right, that's one thing. So it's an observational artifact, we'd say, or a skew. But the ones that really are the drones, that there are these flurries of them, those have been released in anticipation of a team of people that I've been working with for about 20 months, coming forward from 6 different black sites in the United States that deal with UFOs and extraterrestrial craft, or NHI, non-human intelligence. And once it was decided they were going to come forward between now and the inauguration of the new president, then this whole drone event started. Now, why? Because it's causing a lot of consternation and confusion. It's also,
I think it's the government trying to, play this. I think it's the government, or not the government, but I think it's the military. They're over here, doing weird things and stuff like that. Testing their technology skills and things like that. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just crazy to think that, like, I don't know how deep you guys are into this, but it's just crazy to even think that the military is like doing things like this, is like keeping real real important things like this. And they were doing the same thing to Donald Trump too, where they were trying to say that I believe one of the classified documents were probably UFOs. I guarantee you one of them was UFOs. I guarantee you on that.
also causing a lot of mixed signals and sort of a diversion, so that when they begin to come forward with their evidence and information, people are going to say, well, maybe it was just all drones. Now, what are the drones doing?
Yes.
I just had here with me they left an hour ago, a contractor who has been tasked with looking into this. And he's quite convinced some are ours. They're all man-made. None of them are alien or anything like that. But quite a few of them appear to be originating from China or Chinese assets for reasons that appear to be surveillance. And that is at least the conclusion these experts have reached. Now, he also is aware, because he's embedded with the organization and people coming forward.
That was so huge. Can you repeat that statement again and then continue?
What part of the statement from
Chinese?
When we went? Oh yeah, that they know that quite a few of them are from the Chinese, but the Chinese activity is probably being coordinated with a transnational criminal organization that's been responsible for keeping all the UFO secrecy. So in other words, here's the mistake everyone makes here in Washington, where I am right now, and everyone listening.
Yeah, like
we all look at a map of the world, and we see a boundary between Canada and the United States, or China and Russia. The organization that's working at the level that we're talking, they don't care about that. And they have assets that are derived from many, many countries. It's like a United Nations of illegal covert programs.
Yeah.
Now, that goes back, we know, to the 1960s. And I can tell you a story about that in a little while. It's in our disclosure files at our archive. But as soon as this group decided they were going to set a date to come forward, and remember, I've been at two of the chief black sites out in the Western Desert in a helicopter with the main guy who's coming forward and defecting. He's been a special forces operator there since 1995 in those programs. And as soon as they decided to come forward, set the date, and this was the big surprise about a month ago that I learned, they're going to unmask themselves. So in other words, they're not going to just anonymously say, here's what we've seen. These are at the highest level of aerospace contracting and
Why
special
would they?
forces who are going to come out, rank, their name, rank, serial number, nothing held back in terms of their identity. So that's a game changer, because this is the most significant, earth-shattering disclosure in human history. Number one, when I tell you what they're going to be, what they've been doing there, and then number two, in anticipation of that, these corrupt enterprises are trying to gaslight Congress and the president and the public and the media, and create also the specter. This is the other part of this, of something frightening in the skies coming.
Imagine you're being brought in. Imagine you're being brought into this shit, right? You're being brought into the disclosure stuff. You're being brought into the anger or whatever, and you see a UFO, and they're like, yeah, you disclosing this information will kill your family and shit like that. Imagine you're just this random ass person who got clearance. You're doing your job in the military. They just randomly, they just hit you with some, random shit, yeah, we need you to come work on this, blah, 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 this and that, blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, oh my God, what the hell is this? And then, next thing you know, you're just like, dude, I didn't even want, I didn't even want to see this. I didn't even want to see this kind of stuff. It's really disturbing, what the military does. And that's why I really wasn't, don't get me wrong, I've had family in the military and stuff like that. I like the military. I think the military is cool. But as far as things like this, I think this is just beyond the military. I only think this has to do with just fighting wars and training people to kill. I think this is just complete unnecessary things that just have nothing to do with the military, and it doesn't even represent anything related to the military at all, which we all know that most of the technology we have now was being used by the military first anyway. Most of the technology that gets used from the military before it gets released to the public ever. So it's interesting.
See, this has been the plan since 1953, at least, that Werner von Braun warned us about. The man who invented the rocket,
Nazi scientist,
on his deathbed, told
Nazi scientist, y'all, a Nazi scientist. Let's not forget that.
A member of my team, Carol Rosen, that the plan was to eventually launch an alien threat or something from the skies, that they could unite the world around some sort of authoritarian or militaristic totalitarian super state.
From the get-go, y'all.
That is what they're doing. We're at the point, we're at the inflection point where that's all about to happen. And so they're trying to set up a lot of diversionary tactics, as well as things that are frightening people, because they manipulate people through fear and people not knowing. So you go up, I'm up here all the time up at Capitol Hill, and you're talking to members of the Senate Intelligence Committee or House or whoever, or the incoming administration, the people I'm dealing with the incoming administration. By the way, I'm totally nonpartisan. I have to deal with whoever gets elected president of the United States. The point I'm making is that none of them know what's going on, but there's a lot of confusion and fear about it. So, and then in that, you build in this distrust of government, because so far the United States government has not properly addressed it, because I think they don't want to on one level. On another level, they don't really understand it. Now, this is where you get into this whole craziness, that whatever you think competence or incompetence is in government, it's way worse. I mean, it's just way worse.
So are we being, so much we get to dive into, but this is almost an aside, but it's not. You mentioned all the way back to the 1950s. So I have to look at popular culture and wonder how much we've been primed and in a sense, forgive me, brainwashed before we were even born, for many of us, to be ready for this fear event, so that, I'm guessing, greater authoritarian rule and the name of look out, there ET's coming to get us.
Yes, and that plan was developed in the late 40s, early 50s. In fact, If you go to our archive that we've just released in the last year, it's DPIarchive.com. It stands for Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive. And at DPIarchive.com, you're going to see a terabyte or more of data. But in there is a government document from 1953 where the director of the CIA writes about the psychological warfare value of the UFO subject. So it was determined about a year before we mastered gravity control or anti-gravity technologies, when they would start building or man-made UFOs. Most of the ones that are UFOs are man-made, by the way, by Northrop Grumman and Raytheon and Lockheed. Small percentage are extraterrestrial vehicles, or NHI, they're saying now, non-human intelligence. But that's the buzzword in Washington, is NHI now instead of ET. But the point I'm making is that that plan was a 70-year plan to acculturate through Hollywood, the media, and particularly the UFO subculture and ufology and so-called ufologists that have been totally spoon-fed false information and a false narrative. And I would say 90+% of everything out there on this subject has been curated and embedded within pop culture by the CIA and others who are very, very good at what's called a PSYOP, psychological warfare operation. So this is all part of a long-term PSYOP. Abductions are human-made events,
of course.
part of a PSYOP. Mutilations of cattle, all human. This drone imbroglio, all human. There are a number of events that really do look like DT crap. But what people forget is that 70 years of reverse engineering extraterrestrial vehicles and $8 to $10 trillion in black budget funding over the years studying it, they've come out with devices and machines that are almost indistinguishable.
Yeah, this is another way. This is another thing they're doing with our tax money too. They're using our tax money to like do things like this as well too, which is like disgusting. It's like really disgusting. It's like really disgusting, y'all. That's what they're doing with some of our tax money. Well, you think our tax money is just going towards, all this other things that they're talking about. Oh, imagine how much they spend on the military.
Distinguishable from an actual extraterrestrial one. So those can also be, you look at these drones, you'll also see some of these weird, like almost living orbs and spheres that appear.
Yes.
Those are ours. Now, there's extraterrestrial phenomenon that may look that way too, but what they're doing is a copycat. And therefore, they can deceive the public. Even very well-informed people on the subject can be deceived. Because the other thing that people wildly underestimate, Michael, is the degree to which we have unpacked and figured out extremely advanced technologies and then put them into weapon systems or deceptive operations. And so my concern is that the whole planet, and never mind the White House I'm looking at right here, and the Washington and London and Ottawa and other capitals are sitting ducks because they don't have enough information. So what we're in a rush to do is I'm going around the world providing these briefing materials for people, world leaders right now.
So what do you think? And people in the chat are hopping up and down, and there are also people who I can tell are plants in the chat to plant disinformation. Mm-hmm. What do you believe is the big picture plan? How do you see it going? And is there even, I can't believe I'm going to say it, a timeline of what's coming next?
Well, again, the group that's defecting from these 6 black sites determine their own timeline. I've been working with them for 20 months. They told me a month or two ago that it would be between late December and the inauguration or early January. So it's imminent because I mean, this is, New Year's Eve is right now. Yeah. So that is what they determined to do. Now, I have had people in the incoming administration that I won't name who, but people who are up for cabinet level positions say, why don't you get this delayed until after the inauguration? I said, no, they want to do it beforehand. So it's on the plate of the incoming president on his table right away. So that wasn't my call. That's the call of these groups that are affecting. I want to be clear about that. And I'm simply the liaison between that group and the current government and the incoming government. And I'm doing the same thing in London and other places, and Russia and other nation states that need to know. But I think that the real problem is what happens after that. So let's unpack that for a minute.
Thank you.
Once these disclosures happen, and because the provenance of these men that are coming forward is sterling, and what they're going to disclose will be shocking to the conscience. I can give you a preview in a moment.
Thank you.
It's utterly shocking, outrageous and shocking, like you've never heard. That the result of that is going to be a number of issues. One, what does the incoming administration do about it?
Yeah.
Now, having just spent a lot of time with a lot of the incoming people who are senior, I can tell you they know either nothing or they know false information, because they've had people like Luis Elizondo and others go in there and say, hey, there are
I like Lou Elizondo, but let's keep it real, y'all. He can only say so much, and he still works for the government, so he's not gonna jeopardize his job. He's only gonna give you so much. He's only gonna give you so much, bro. People like Dr. Greer have literally came out of a whole career. I think he did for like 20 or 30 years or something like that. Came out just to expose this stuff, and I had to be quite honest, I find him more credible than people like Lou Elizondo. Even though Lou Elizondo, he's still credible, I find Dr. Greer more credible, in my opinion.
Threat to the national security. And oh, by the way, all these objects you see, none of them are ours, so they have to be alien. That's a total gaslighting. In fact, I won't say who, but I was in Palm Beach 3 weeks ago meeting with a very senior person, and the person had already been gaslit by this disinformation crowd and was convinced that everything that went bump in the night was alien. I said, oh no. And so I had 4 special forces guys there.
You just play video.
So I had 3 Green Berets with me,
and
a Marine who has come forward, Michael Herrera, whose materials you probably have seen when he encountered that 300-foot diameter disc trafficking in children and people out of Indonesia in 2009. And
they don't mind doing that.
And the person we were briefing, who will be
they don't mind trafficking the kids, though.
Person,
they don't mind.
There in Palm Beach, literally was physically shaken because he didn't know that we had these things, because he had already looked into it and had been told, oh no, everything going on is alien. So now imagine someone at that level of government in the most powerful country in the world being completely not only no information, but an enormous amount of disinformation, false information. That's dangerous. So where I'm going with this is we have to do a crash course for our leaders and our people in your country, whether you're in Canada or wherever you're listening, about what the truth of this is. So the presidential briefing document that we have, which is the biggest one we've ever done, we're going to do a sanitized version of it where we redact certain sensitive things. And we're going to put that and publish that online soon, because everyone needs to get a copy of that to their members of Congress and senators or parliament or leaders, because it has everything in there. Now, what it doesn't have in there are these new disclosures, right? These new disclosures coming forward will be the most significant ones in the history of the subject. There's never been a team this senior who are current. And by the way, these are not old retirees. These are people currently operational. All right. They're SO special operators. So that's a very significant development. Now, if it's handled badly, so let's say this comes out and leaders around the world say, oh my God, there's an alien threat. We have to unite the world. And like the movie Independence Day, where Will Smith goes, let's kick alien butt, right? You know, the movie. I mean, it was right out of CIA scripting. But if that happens, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's a catastrophe. If they do it, now I've written and
what does that mean? End of the world as we know it. Forgive me. That's a huge bomb.
It means that we would go to sort of an interplanetary conflict and create such chaos in the world that they would be able to manipulate like they did after 9/11, but on a much grander scale. It would be a cosmic 9/11. And that's unfortunately.
Dude, I don't even think Elon Musk even realized that. I don't even think Elon Musk even realizes things like that sometimes. Like that's a whole intergalactic fucking, it's crazy.
Not having enough information on this is dangerous. This is my mantra. You cannot be a member of the Congress or the president or a general or admiral at the Pentagon. And by the way, most of those people don't know anything about this subject, frankly, nothing. You can't be those people with that responsibility and be flying blind in a fog. You're going to slam the whole world into a mountainside and crash it. So I think this is the big problem, is that not having enough knowledge, or in a way worse, partial knowledge with all this disinformation it's a total existential threat. So that's what we're trying to remedy. But I think the masses and all of us together, if receiving this information, can rise up. If it begins to spin sideways in that direction, we can say, oh, but wait a minute. And here's this archive, dpiarchive.com, that has all the proof of this. And here's all this testimony. And it's not, these are man-made events, staging and pretending to be alien. So I think that is something that knowledge is power, and the masses, we're supposed to be living in a democracy, should have a voice in that in writing to people. Now, if it goes the other way.
Yes, thank you.
Recently, we sent out to our email list. Of those of you not on it should get on our email list, because it's a newsletter, it has all this stuff in it every few days.
Yeah.
And you can go to drstevengreer.com. But the letter was a sample speech for world leaders to give.
Yeah.
And here's how that should go. Here's what right looks like. It should be announced that we're not alone in the universe.
Yeah.
That they're not hostile. Yeah. That there has been an intensive project for 75 years or more to study these objects that we have downed that are extraterrestrial, reverse engineer them. And we've had some amazing breakthroughs, some of which have to remain classified right now. But the basic energy systems that would run the planet, fix the biosphere, eliminate poverty, those we're going to work to bring out. Yeah. And the other programs that have not been overseen properly, we're in the process of getting them under control. Now, what's behind that? Now, this I'm summarizing about a few minute speech that I've drafted for folks. Yes. And that's gone to a number of leaders around the world already. Whether they take my advice or not, I don't know. I mean, it's like, as being a medical doctor, I've had patients.
Y'all hear that in the background? Is there anything in the background y'all hear? I hope there's none in the background y'all hear. Does this sound pretty clear to y'all? Okay, I just thought there was something in the background.
Patients come in with a heart attack, get up off the bed and say, I'm going to go home. And
sounds like someone's yelling, right?
And we told them that's what would happen. And,
yeah,
I mean, hey, you give advice. I don't have any official position, right? I'm just a regular civilian. So, private. So then if it goes in that direction, it's a golden age of human civilization, of free energy, no pollution, no poverty, and in the recommendation and executive orders for the president and others is that we start an initiative like our Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind initiative to make.
Dude, if Donald Trump hears about this, they need to be pushing this towards Donald Trump because he might be the one that actually let the shit fly. We all know we all know people. We all know the people that we all know Congress is probably not gonna try to let it fly. But if you get this to the fucking president, bro, he might be able to talk them into some shit. Might be able to talk some people into this shit, really getting it out there. Telling you. That I'm telling you, bro, that's why people want Donald Trump because see he'll listen to the people. He ain't like people like Obama that's just trying to do their job. Just trying to do their job. You know what I mean? Just trying to make sure I do my job and nothing happens to me and all this. No. No, 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 no.
Make peaceful contact. But if
Cause they'll just lie to you. They'll sit there and lie to you. They'll lie to you about where your tax money's going. They'll lie to you about things being told. They'll lie to you. They'll even lie to you about this kind of stuff. They'll stay lying to you about the most pathetic things that the people should know. Now, obviously, there's probably things that the public shouldn't know to make sure, things don't, things don't get out of hand and stuff like that or whatever. But that's what they do. That's what they do. That's their MO. They sit there and they lie to the people. And, they don't give a fuck about the people. They don't care. They don't care because as long as it's keeping money in their pockets, that's all.
Officially from the government, where instead of shooting at these objects and downing them with directional energy weapons and electromagnetic pulse weapons, which I've seen, we're doing it in the context of one universe, one people, that we're all conscious beings, that we need to have a rapprochement and reach out to these civilizations in peace and move us into a whole new chapter where eventually, not right away, because we're not quite yet civilized, that we can become interplanetary ourselves. So that's the vision that's very beautiful. So it could be, and what I've said is that there's 1,000 ways for this to go sideways and go wrong.
Yeah.
There's basically one way it can go forward where it's a hopeful event where we create not world peace, but universal peace, that we bring all these technologies out carefully evaluating their national security implications when it comes to some of the things that fly at 1,000 times the speed of sound. You can't let every terrorist on the planet have that in their toolkit to deliver a dirty bomb to downtown Toronto. Yeah. But my point here is there are wonderful breakthroughs in science and technology and medicine that can be a peace dividend for all the trillions in secrecy that have gone on. So I think, this is where the battle for disclosure, we just released this documentary. It's been #1 on Amazon called Battle for Disclosure.
Yeah.
And it was timely that it came out. I mean, it's been trying to get it out for over a year, but there've been some problems with distribution. But that documentary is very important that people network it to their friends and everything, because it lays all this out. And it lays out how stark the choice is between a dystopian future of endless war and expanding war into space versus a whole new world, a new civilization that is beautiful. And this is our choice. And our leaders need to hear from us, right? Because this is going to break, and then people are going to be going, well, now what? And I have always said, if the people will lead, the leaders will follow. And I hear this from members of the Senate and Congress all the time. They say, we want to hear from our constituents about this. So people need to actually take some action.
Thank you. So I want to double back. First off, you mentioned the URL of the archive, because people here are screaming, we need proof, we need to see proof, we need to see proof. So A, where can people go for the archive? And then B, would you mind sharing some of what's going to be disclosed? You said, as much as we can handle, we'll fasten our seatbelts for a minute.
Yeah, it's dpiarchive.com. And we are crowdfunding that, by the way. And we've spent about $500,000 putting that together because we had to digitize my archive. But it has 115 named whistleblowers, video, and their transcript testimony. It has 122 events of these objects, ET objects, crashing and being retrieved, and research with named witnesses and illustrations, forensic illustrations. It has photos, has videos, it has government documents from US, Canada, former Soviet Union, French. All of that's in there, and it's all for free. You have to register because otherwise we'd have bots destroy the system, but it's a free, you don't have to pay anything. So it's all there. It's 34 years of research and material. It would take you a year or two to get through it, but you can search it. It's a searchable database. So it's been put into a database. So that's available to anyone who wants to take the time to look at it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So then now would you mind sharing?
I'll definitely be going through that.
You said that we would get to some of the stories of what are going to be released or what people have seen or, heaven forbid, done. Because I know people are thinking earthquakes, weather phenomenon, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Well, these covert programs have the ability to do all of that. I mean, they certainly have the ability to. In fact, this one guy called the NOC, NOC, it stands for non-official cover. So he's, I don't want to say what his cover is yet. I mean, he'll unmask himself in the next week or two. But when I first met him, it was through an encrypted handoff from one of his security officers, Special Forces guys out of JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command, and went to some bar not far from the CIA, and he handed me a thumb drive, and I took it, and he was scared shitless when he met me. I don't know why they're all so afraid of me, but then I went and had to get someone who could help me even open it, and basically it was a 10-page explanation of this issue and this man's involvement. So he is a senior operator for an aerospace corporation and intelligence community operative at two major black sites out west. I won't say which ones.
And what's a black site for people? A black site, black ops.
Nothing gets any more crazier than coming out as a whistleblower, dog. I mean, like, seriously, like, nothing gets in, like, I don't think life gets any crazier than coming out as a whistleblower. I don't give a damn what you do in your life. You coming out as a whistleblower, you best believe there's going to be some weird things happening in your life. Period.
Shadow government. I'm not sure people are familiar with these terms.
They're highly classified secret bases. Most of the activity is in a STIF, a subterranean facility. Some people call them DUMBs, deep underground military bases. And you will see in the archive some photos of us above one of them. We were out at the Lockheed Skunk Works out in the desert, high desert, and I was in a chopper and videotaped and photographed an underground opening where the man-made objects, the man-made UFOs come up and then are tested. And you'll also see what that test range looks like. Now, we're releasing all that. Now, this man has been operational there, meaning that he's been there when they have used illegal electromagnetic pulse weapon systems. Those are banned by the International Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, but they're used. And some are as small as a bread box. I mean, they're not big. Wow. And you can take down an airliner or ET craft or anything. He's been operational. And in fact, one of the sites I was at, he says we knocked down 1 or 2 ET craft per year at that one site, and another 1 or 2 at the other one where I was. That's about 100 and maybe 100 miles away north. And we were in his chopper, so we were in a classified, thing. But and I had with me the director of a Green Beret group that's been pulled into law enforcement, civilian, to get these under control. That's another discussion we should have. What do you do after all this comes out? We got to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Now, so what he has dealt with there are all kinds of issues. For example, when they are going to operate an electromagnetic pulse weapon and strike one of these non-human craft, to get them to come in, they have trained people to be kind of biomachines, where they have gone to very impoverished, poor areas around the world, and they've said, you can come with us if you don't want to die here, like after a natural disaster or war or something. And certain people are screened for their psionic, their ability to be telepathic or intuitive.
Okay.
The ones who pass a certain screening process are then put into what's called a P3 program. And it's what I've talked about for years, where the interstellar vehicles have their guidance systems and their communication systems are hooked into the consciousness field and thought, but scientifically. It's not just woo-woo seances or something. Or just normal remote viewing and telepathy. It's high-tech interface between mind and thought and machine.
And that's how they travel. You were telling me interstellar travel takes place from thought.
Communication.
Okay.
Guidance systems and communication. The physical travel of a machine is different but related, but we can talk about that. Okay. I'm now talking about, guidance systems. So let's say if you wanted to hijack an Airbus, right? And you had a way of breaking into their guidance system and autopilot, and you would then be able to hijack it. Now visualize that being done by these P3 operators who are taken into a program. They're put on a lot of drugs. Most of them end up dying or end up in a coma permanently. But the ones that survive, these poor
in a coma
people, those become these operators who can then latch onto an interstellar vehicle, an NHI, and basically, if they sneak in, grab it and pull it over this site and then kill it, hit it. Now, so it's like using the concepts of CE5 in a high-tech way, but for a murderous purpose. Also, some of the objects are not destroyed. They've come down intact. And there are a number of ETs that are captured that they euphemistically call refugees that are in these underground facilities that we want to liberate them and save them. They're still living, some of them. So imagine this happens 1 or 2 times a year at this one site I was at, and 1 or 2 times a year at the other site. So this man has been operational. I mean, to the point where he has ferried deceased, they call them biologicals, deceased bodies, not human, ET bodies. And he feels terrible about it. Now, the other part of it that's horrible and shocking, in order to operate those systems, they have to put up what's called a TFR. And it's a total temporary flight restriction. So in other words, they notify FAA, there's a flight restriction goes up over a zone around these sites, and the aircraft are told to go.
Isn't it hard to believe that this stuff is actually real? Isn't it just hard to believe that this stuff is actually real? Like, it's just, I bet some of y'all can't even comprehend the simple fact that some of this stuff is actually real. Like, it's just insane. It's insane, man. Like, this stuff is incredible. Incredible.
Around, or if you're a private Cessna pilot or Learjet pilot, you're told to go around. However, this is what's really terrible. Sometimes people ignore or don't see the TFR and they fly in there. If they fly in there and this team is operational, they kill them. They knock their aircraft down. All the humans are killed. They're incinerated, turned into powder, and there's no trace of them. And
sound like
that has happened too many times. Worse, occasionally, the beam from the electromagnetic pulse goes wider and goes outside the TFR, and people who are even trying to obey the TFR. So there are a number of cases of missing aircraft that vanished because they were hit by these weapon systems. So there are a lot of problems we have to fix. It's going to take an executive order from the president. I've drafted those. Those are in the briefing materials, or recommended what they need to be. So the folks coming forward are not trivial. They're not incidental. Many of them have been there for many, many years. The one gentleman, 29 years since 1995, read into this. Now he's senior enough to have all this knowledge. Now, what isn't known is how much of the actual physical, like the videos of the bodies that are ET, or the videos of the man-made or ET craft, or photos or data that he'll be able to release, because he doesn't want to get him and his family killed, and he doesn't want to have someone trump up some charges and him arrested. So that is an unknown to me, and it's an unknown to everyone else. So that's pending. So, and I'm leaving that totally to his discretion. I know what he has.
Yeah.
Because when these events happened, 100% of it's filmed, photographed, radar, sensors, infrared, it's all there, right? Now, how much of that will be dumped into our hands, that we build a blockchain protected site to put it, and you will all be notified of this. I do not know. And I don't know how much of this story
blockchain site.
He's going to tell initially, because some of it does shock the conscience.
Can't wait to see that.
And so much of it sounds like Star Trek or something, but it's all real. And that's what I've known this for 30 some years. And now it looks like it's going to come to a head if they can pull it off in the next couple weeks.
Thank you. So a whole bunch of questions related to protection here. And then I want to dive back probably to Star Trek in many different areas. First off, forgive me. How are you still alive? How are these people still alive? And what will be done to protect them if they come forward? Does it even matter if they put X amount of data out or Y amount? If they come forward, it would sound to me like they're sitting ducks.
It's high risk. I mean, when he first approached me about 20 months ago, his big concern was for he and his family, and his children that are young, fairly young, not babies, but young, and younger than my children. And that's one concern. The other concern is that he doesn't want to release this, and it's the tree that fell in the woods nobody heard. In other words, he wants it to be known by billions of people. So I've set up a system where I'm asking people, when we announce this coming out, it's going to be open sourced. It'll be on a blockchain site. It'll be downloadable, all the testimony, everything he's releasing. And I want everyone to send it to everyone they know, every celebrity I know. I put them on high alert to receive this, and we will create a link. We'll create a little, like a little sizzle reel of it, and a link, and it'll then hook right into this blockchain, because you can't put it in the cloud. I mean, I think Amazon cloud would be, it'd be ripped out of the cloud if we put it there. So I built all that in the last couple of months.
Amazon freaking, they'll try to sell it back to you. They'll try to regulate it for you. They'll try to be like, oh no, sir, you thought this was yours?
For the team to come forward. But we're going to need help from all of you, like you, Michael, with your show and following, to get the word out.
You got it. So, okay. And then I want to double back to how you're still around, and I love you. I'm so glad you're still here. But you brought up a very interesting point. If I'm putting all these pieces together, because people are going, what are the drones? What are the drones? What are the drones? And it's a reasonable question, but the bigger question is, are part of the reason that the drones are here, not just to base fear, but to make us blasé, so that whatever comes forward, it's totally, for lack of a proper word.
Yeah, part of it is that, part of it's fear, and part of it's create confusion, because people are going to go, well, maybe everything these guys were working on were some version of a drone. In other words, what this group likes to do is confuse, take a clear picture and muddy the waters.
Yeah.
And the media, the mainstream media, by the way, which is in the back pocket of the corporate and corrupt interests running all these secret projects. They don't know it. The average reporter doesn't. But I can tell you, in every major media situation I can think of, when people have tried to hand off the truth about this, the networks, all of them, your networks, my networks in the United States, Fox, CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, they all kill it, all the way back decades. So the idea that we have a free press on this is a joke. We don't. It's a corrupted media. It's a corporate corrupt media. So the way around that is through podcasts and through celebrities dropping the link. So, there are some people in my network who have, 100 to 300 million followers, right? So if that type of celebrity drops this link and it goes viral, who needs CNN or Fox or PBS or the Canadian Broadcasting Company, right? So that is something I built for this gentleman and his team, because they didn't want to risk their lives, and it ends up being something no one hears about, and we can't trust the mainstream media. Now, maybe they'll cover it, but even when they cover it, I have never been part of an event dealing with this subject where when it breaks into the mainstream media, it's not distorted or lied about or debunked, or you can't trust them. This building that has 300 condos in it, I have more ability to hurl this over the Washington Monument than to trust anyone in the media. I hate to sound that way, but I simply don't trust the big media.
Well, it's
trust you.
So, thank you.
I trust Demi Lovato to get the word out. I was just with her out in Sedona a couple months ago.
It's interesting. So I've been seeing these drones here. So you go online, you clickety, clackety, clickety, you go at USA Today or anything. The top 10 things you should know about the drone sightings in Florida, for instance. And it starts out, it sucks you in at the beginning, and it seems like it's going to be telling you about the drone sightings. And then it starts to compare things to airplanes. And then it starts to talk about FAA rules. And before it's done, it's wrapped up neatly in a nice tight package. And you forget what you're reading the article about. It is brilliantly engineered.
Yep. They're
to
good at what they do
without any clue.
Yes. Yeah. They're very good at the PSYOPs, psychological warfare, and these sort of PR spins. They've had many decades to practice it.
Yeah.
It's propaganda. Most people fall for it.
Yeah.
But with what these guys are going to disclose, this is not going to be ambiguous. So, and we also know that if it were to go through a government entity, it would just get buried.
Yeah.
I just concluded a meeting with a contractor for the U.S. government who had gotten a contract to look into the UAP issue.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of dollars spent from Aero, this office at the Pentagon. And he got all these images, he got sensors, he turned them over, and they wouldn't do anything with it. And they didn't disclose it to the members of Congress. And the current Dr. Kirkpatrick was there when he handed it over. The new director of Aero, which is that office at the Pentagon, that's been ordered to investigate this, the new people there can't even find it. It's all vanished.
Wow.
So this cover-up just happened in the last year. So anyone who thinks that any government entity can be trusted with this is why we're doing it privately. Because I just, unfortunately, I don't see that happening. And also people who are members of Congress, some of them sincerely want to know the truth. Others are on the payroll of these big corporations to keep it secret. So, it's got to be that this battle for disclosure is a really big battle.
Okay, thank you. Two key areas I want to go on. I want to go and follow this $8 to $10 trillion. Before I do that, the questions coming up in the chat are why? The question that came to me is, why are all these ETs still coming here if so many are being shot down? And the corollary to that is people are asking, if they have such advanced technology, meaning the extraterrestrials, how are we able to shoot them down?
They have very advanced technology, but they're not infallible. Only God's infallible. And people are way underestimating what we have. All right. Now, the kill rate, I hate to use that term, isn't very high. I mean, they're attempting it more than they succeed, obviously. So it's not like it's every minute it happens, but it's happening enough that it's very worrisome. I mean, we have 122 documented crash retrieval downings in our archive that I mentioned, but there have been probably 1,000 or two or more. I mean, these two black sites I was at have been around for 40 or 50 years, one or two ET craft a year. You can go do the math. And there are sites like that all over the world, out in Australia, in Asia, over the oceans, in space, other places in the United States, the Northern Nevada Test Range, north of Nellis and Area 51. There's an operation there. We have a whistleblower who was there when we knocked down a craft that kind of did a soft land and then took off again. But I think this is, I mean, it's a real problem. And what's important to understand is that the oversight committees in the United States Senate and House and the White House don't know any of this is going on. People say that cannot be. I said, oh yeah, it is. Now, like I said, there are a few people in the Congress who then lie to all their colleagues and say, oh no, there's nothing here. There's nothing behind the curtain, right? It's like the Wizard of Oz. And they're liars, and they're treasonous liars. But and this is at the point where we have to begin to hold them accountable. And I have recommended criminal prosecution of the former director of Aero for lying to Congress and covering up the evidence he received. I'm just put that on the table. I've already recommended that to the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee, as well as to
All right, so
an FBI team.
Thank you.
We're gonna switch it over to something else, y'all. But yeah, that disclosure shit is crazy. Yeah, that disclosure stuff is crazy. There's another video I want to play as well too. Damn, I wish I had a thumbnail for my stuff. I don't know why I don't have a thumbnail. I don't know why I don't have a thumbnail, yo. But I need a thumbnail. There's another video. There is another video I wanted to play. There's another video. It'll come up on here. It usually comes up on here. But let's see. Yeah, I will do. I think it was on here. Nah, maybe it wasn't. Okay. I'm trying to think because it might come up on my feed, y'all. It might come up on my feed. Let's see. Let's see. It might come up on my feed. Let's see. It usually comes up. Usually most videos I watch come up on my feed. As you can see, I only have this many subscriptions. I don't subscribe to people like that. I only support real channels. I could subscribe to more, but I choose not to. I just choose not to. I just choose not to. Um, Hold on, it may be on my other. I gotta go on my other computers. Oh, duh. Hopefully YouTube won't ban me for playing these videos. But we gon' get some Alex Jones going here. Y'all like Alex Jones? I like Alex Jones. Here we go. I want to show y'all something. I want to show y'all this freaking weirdo that tried to message me on. You see, they messing with my my Wi-Fi right now. They're trying to play with me on my Wi-Fi. I'm gonna show y'all this weird person. So this weird, like, who does this? Sorry for badging into your privacy. Who the hell are you? Who is this person? If anybody can find me this person, she was in the Xbox server, but it's like clearly it's like you have nothing else to do, don't you? See, look, and then when I sent her this, she immediately stopped talking. I was like, so what do you think about this? Then I asked, where are you from? It's like, who are you? It's like, who are you? At first, I was like, okay, I'll just play along with it. But then after a while, I started to realize I was like, you're probably just a weird. So then I sent her this. I was like, and sent her the child support thing. So we know most of y'all got kids and child support and all that crazy stuff. But let's get to it. Which one should we? I want to play. I'm gonna play some other. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I want to play the um. Where was it? Trying to think of which one it was. Oh yeah, here we go. I hope they ban this crap.
Donald
I hope
Trump
they
urges
ban
the
it.
Supreme
I hope they
Court to
ban it.
delay TikTok ban amid First Amendment concerns.
Yeah, I hope they ban it.
A delay could reshape the digital landscape while
Can y'all
redefining
hear?
government power
Can y'all
over
hear? Just let
online
me know if y'all
platforms.
can hear. I hope they ban it.
President-elect Donald Trump has asked
I
the
hope they
Supreme
ban
Court
the
to
whole entire
delay
thing.
looming TikTok ban. In a filing late Friday, Trump emphasized the need for more time to negotiate a solution that avoids the app's shutdown and protects constitutional rights. The legal maneuver comes as the Biden administration staunchly defends the ban, labeling TikTok a severe threat due to its ties to Chinese parent company.
Why the fuck are you not fucking goddamn?
To its Chinese parent company.
Like,
With the app's future hanging in the balance, the Supreme Court faces a pivotal decision about whether the law, set to take effect January 19th, violates the First Amendment. Now, Anthony Blinken actually made a statement on this. Clip number 8, where he sort of admitted the real reason. Spoiler alert, has nothing to do with China owning the app. Has everything to do with the, well, unfortunate information being shared there that was doing major damage to the PR of our greatest ally. Let's watch Anthony Blinken explain.
The way this is played out on social media has dominated the narrative. And you have a social media ecosystem environment in which context, history, facts get lost, and the emotion, the impact of images dominates. And we can't discount that. But I think it also has a very, very, very challenging effect on
y'all hear this trash?
On the narrative.
Yeah, a small parenthetical point, which is some wonder why there was such overwhelming support for us to shut down potentially TikTok or other entities of that nature. If you look at the postings on TikTok and the number of mentions of Palestinians relative to other social media sites, it's overwhelmingly so among TikTok broadcast. So I'd note that's of real interest, and the president will get the chance to make action in that regard.
Now, normally after a clip like that, we'd like to help people read between the lines because sometimes politicians speak in code.
Not there.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they tell you exactly what they're thinking. Another case is Representative Mike.
Yeah. Blinken blames TikTok and social media for disrupting Israel's narrative of war in Gaza. That's the real reason. Obviously, like we reported, the moment, it happened. And it's just, this is the type of stuff that's like, do I really need to explain this? Just, it couldn't be more obvious what the real impetus behind this was. And as those the hosts of Counterpoint
is foolish, y'all.
point out there, Anthony Blinken and Mitt Romney just very blatantly admit there. I mean, it's just almost shocking that they would be so blatant, that they would be so honest. And when you think about the absurdity of what they're saying, it really is like chilling to understand how their mind works. He talks about the emotional response to some of the images that they're seeing. He says they're seeing these images without the context and the history. Context and the history and the geopolitical reality behind it. And it's like, all right, well, when I see a video of a hospital being bombed or the mangled body parts of little children being pulled from rubble, and hearing about the AI system that was used to target them, what exactly is the context that would make that not, like what's the context that would make that justifiable? Like, can you imagine the type of person we're talking about here? I mean, just in a I don't even want to say it. But I mean, you're talking about images of dead babies, and the response is like, okay, but let me tell you the context. Okay, you go over to your friend's house and you snoop around in their closet, and there's a dead child inside. Are you going to care what the context is? Does it matter what this is unconscionable. This is appalling. There is no context that justifies this. Okay? Well, I mean, sure, you saw a baby be ripped in half, but I mean, let me tell you the context. There was an attack on October 7th. So that's the context. It's just, it is insane that they get away with this, and that still to this day, they're saying, oh, well, yeah, no, it's actually about the Chinese control. It's about, do you like China? If you don't like China, you have to let us ban TikTok. By the way, it's because, quote, they're challenging the effect of the narrative about the war on Israel. That's obviously what it's really about. It's always been about that. It's the reason that the heads of Ivy League universities were fired. It's the reason TikTok is being taken down. And it's appalling that American politicians are going along with this.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next. Infowars.com/show.
Ladies and gentlemen, because of your support in the last 30 years, my operation has successfully devastated the globalists. The enemies of freedom worldwide openly give us the credit for being the genesis point for the mass global awakening to the new world order that is happening right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we go into Christmas,
Man, it's kind of crazy. They literally almost took this whole entire network.
And I want to encourage you now to support the broadcast while getting great products, because we're winning. We're turning the tide, and I don't want to give up. I don't want to back down. I know my most important work and my crew's most important work is still.
It wasn't this video. It was another one as well too. But Alex Jones is he's pretty good. I trust Alex Jones. I trust his information. I definitely trust his information. There are just some information people. There are just some people with information. They just repeat the same thing. But I trust his information. This shit is. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, it was this video. This dude. This dude's a monster. This guy's a freaking monster.
We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much, and we have developed speed. More than machinery, we need humanity.
Guy's a terrorist.
We know the air is unfit to breathe, our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Burmis.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and today I'm just asking questions. So here's the deal, guys. Just so everybody knows, still doing the Making Sense of the Madness show over at Patriot.tv. We've had a break. It goes on through January 6th. So right now they're playing reruns.
Yeah, let's
But the
skip through
tabs
this.
out. Yep, there it is right there.
We can get to
The good people over at TruthStream Media, they do that a lot also. They, read those types of things. I think it's really important. Good-looking person, only unimpactful. Not going to change a damn thing. You want to know what's going to change stuff?
Here we go.
If this administration gets in there and people like Bobby Kennedy and his cohorts fight tooth and nail, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take fighting tooth and nail on a political level to change anything about our healthcare system. Let's get that straight. Shooting this guy did nothing for that. 100% nothing. Now, let's get into some of the other odd aspects of the case, because we have to ask these questions, okay? And this was the thing you first saw. This is supposedly he used a ghost.
I think this guy was mad at his job. I think he was freaking pissed off at his job and probably got pissed off. Apparently he got pissed. Like, I don't know if y'all were even following. I'm sure a lot of you guys were following the stories and stuff like that. But this is a dude who works for who works for a healthcare company, who had surgery in the past and didn't have like the money to like pay for it, all this other like crazy crap. And it's just like, dude, like, you felt that angry to where you had to shoot a CEO to I think he was sending a message. I don't think he was trying to I don't think he was trying to say like, oh, we need to fix the healthcare system. No, I think he was sending a message saying like, look, dude, you CEOs keep acting like this, and we're gonna, we're just gonna murk you guys. We're just gonna murk you guys. Like, this guy's a madman, bro. He's a freaking terrorist, dog. A lot of these people are terrorists, and we don't even realize it.
Ghost gun. Now, I know everybody watched it, and again, what we watched was somebody fully masked up walking up on someone and shoot them. We're taking a lot of words for it. I'm not saying he didn't do this. I'm just saying what we saw is a masked person shoot a guy in the back and his gun jam up. Now, I just recently had on my Patriot.tv show a person that's been in court and been all the way up to the Supreme Court, who has put 3D printed like CAD models. Okay, so in other words, models that you can have 3D printed with materials. I love that I have topic here. See the rookie mistake here. Topic. How about ghost guns? There we go. How about that? Huh? We're killing it today, guys. Hello?
Ghost guns have been around
We're knocking the rust off.
Ghost guns
okay?
have been around for a while.
So
actually, they're in the
you've got the ghost gun argument.
Most of the ghost guns are in the street.
Look, here's the deal.
Most of the ghost guns
we already have.
Most of the ghost guns are manufactured by gun companies, and then they distribute them into the fucking the cities and stuff like that, or they get smuggled from other countries.
Have super regulations when it comes to firearms in this country, weapons, how far the quote-unquote Second Amendment can go.
That are smuggled.
Look,
drugs.
For the most part, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, right? Now, that doesn't mean I think that people should have nuclear weapons or whatever, but I think that the idea that I can't have the same models to print something that can protect me. And they talk about ghost guns. It didn't work out for this guy. That's the other really weird thing about this. If you printed the gun, what are you doing carrying it around several days later with your manifesto in your book bag? Right? Pretty bizarre. Pretty bizarre. So now let's get into some of the other aspects of the case. Now,
actually, no. I think that was probably the best way for him to be like, you know what? Instead of just buying a gun off the street, I can just print it out. See, like, it's smart, but then you shot somebody with it. So I think again. I think I think the dude was smart. I think the dude was smart in printing out the gun, which I don't think anybody would have ever done. I think he's probably the only criminal that's ever done it in history is printed out a freaking gun and shot somebody with it. I think that's genius. But the simple fact that he shot a CEO, it's just not. That's not really that genius. But the concept of him printing out a gun, which is considered as a ghost gun, as they say. I mean, regardless, like, it's just not. I don't know, man. People are just like, I don't know. I like them 3D printers are cool, but like he just made 3D printers. He just made 3D printers look like really something that that people need to go out and buy now. Like, dude, if I go buy a 3D printer, I can just definitely go like make anything. I mean, like I didn't even realize people were even making guns out of these 3D printers, which is crazy. Shoot, them things started coming out when I was in high school, and I've been out of high school for almost 10 years now. So,
first of all, the guy is pled not guilty. Okay, he said not guilty, didn't do it. Okay, I mean, and now I don't know whether that's like actually what he's saying. Like he may be arguing like, oh, this guy deserved it. I don't know. He's got good lawyers. Now, if you go to the Department of Justice, okay,
he's a rich boy.
They talk about stalking and the murder, but here's the deal: they've used terrorism laws, and we're going to get into that because I think that's really, really important because he's not a terrorist. I've always argued to people that this idea that you want to label all these people domestic terrorists is to your detriment. It's the same thing with like hate speech laws. Somebody commits a crime. This guy committed murder. Okay? You charge him with murder. You don't make it a big thing where all of a sudden your rights are in question.
No, that's how you have to get people. That's how you got to get people scared. That's how you get them scared, and that'll inform people who want to go out and kill people. Like, look, dude, you're gonna be tried. You're a terrorist now. You're a legitimate terrorist,
right? Because especially in this arena of what he was doing and posting on message boards and social media, all of a sudden you label this guy a terrorist.
Yes.
And then the surrounding group or people that empathize or sympathize or champion him are also now considered what? Potential domestic terrorists.
Terrorists. I don't go.
Right. And I'm going to say it again. you get that label, good luck getting due process. All right? That's a big, big deal. And there's a few other things I want to hit on before we hit the definition of terrorist post 9/11, because I think that's the Patriot Act Section 802 definition of a terrorist, because that is extremely important in my opinion. By the way, guys, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Look, we don't gain subscribers on YouTube. In fact, I might want to just pull that right up for everybody, just to show people that no matter how much I do, no matter what I put out, no matter what my actual numbers are, we lose subscribers every single month. So I'm on Rumble, I'm on X. Well, we'll probably do a whole video on X and free speech, maybe even later today. We're on Rockfin as well. That's a great way to financially support me. If you're still involved, you can go subscribe over there. That does help. But just take a look at this, guys. We did it again. Went back to, and we're going to get to Destiny. There it is. Minus 23 in the last 28 days. Go to channel analytics. We cannot, no matter what, it's always minus. Let's do this is the last 28 days. Let's do the last 365 days. Somehow, some way, we had a gain of almost 400 subscribers in a year. And I'll be really honest, sociopathic, and I'm putting that out there. All right. Now, let's continue on. I do want to point out that a lot of people have discussed that this guy that was killed was supposedly going to testify against Nancy Pelosi. Did it again. I'm going to have to switch my button layout here. I keep doing the wrong thing, guys. I hate it. So apparently there is no evidence of this. Now, whether this is a USA Today fact check, they're 100% garbage. But it does seem like he had ongoing court battles. That is real, and threats. What he was going to testify to, what he had said, I don't know. Does seem like powerful people were a little bit nervous. Okay? So, I don't know if the Pelosi thing's real. There certainly seems to be some things surrounding this guy in the court system that makes you go, what's going on there? All right. So now, since we've shown her face half a dozen times on the broadcast, I'm going to play Destiny Resendez talking about terrorism and Mangione in particular, and then we're going to add on to that, okay? So here she is, Destiny Resendez, and you can find her over on Twitter. In fact, do we have that up there? We do. And we're going to just bring that up really quick before we play her. And, you know, I just basically put out, whatever you think of Mangione is irrelevant. He's not a terrorist. He allegedly committed a single murder. The precedence this could set is extremely dangerous. And it's at Desi_Rezi with a Z. Let's play her clip.
Hey guys, it's Des, and I only get 1 minute and 45 seconds for this video, so I'll make it short and sweet to the point. I have with me a pair of dictionaries from 1958. These are Funk and Wagnall International editions, printed right here in the United States. Now, it was brought up on Twitter last night, the term terrorism, which I really wanted to let everyone know what the true definition of terrorism is pre-internet, but before they decided to change its definition, which they have. Now, terrorism is defined by bullet point 1, an act of terrorizing. Well, what is terrorizing? Terrorizing is to reduce to a state of terror, to terrify, or to coerce through intimidation. Now that we know that, what does the rest of terrorism actually mean? Terrorism means a system of government that seeks to rule through intimidation. A system of government. There is no such thing as a domestic terrorist, because terrorism is performed by governments, not people. In fact, it's performed by governments on their people. And it's funny that Homeland Security has a problem with Americans in trying to censor their speech, considering them the biggest threat to our nation's security, saying that we are domestic terrorists, which is funny because terrorism did not become a highlight in American lexicon until, well, 9/11, when we instituted Homeland Security. And funny how that act of terrorism led to Homeland Security coercing and intimidating its people, kind of like the definition of terrorism.
And there it is. She kills it there. All right. Now I'm going to add to that really quickly. All right. Now, when I talk about Section 802, right here, AI overview, we'll give it to you right here. And it says Section 802 of the USA Patriot Act defines domestic terrorism as an act that is dangerous to human life and violates the law and is intended to, now here are the three things, let's read it, intimidate or coerce a civilian population. All right. Now, again, that we'll get to each of those. Influence government policy through intimidation or coercion, and affect government conduct through mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping. Okay. Now, again, when you look at this, the influence and coercion part are very vague. Okay, I don't agree with any of that in that sense. In fact, you can check out how even the ACLU back, when they were doing stuff in 2002, showed how it redefined terrorism. All right, now I want to go through some things that you could argue are terrorism that may have not been totally and completely state-sponsored. Now, first of all, I think that state sponsorship, you look at 9/11, this is an international intelligence operation that targeted civilians. All right? That would honestly fit the definition, and it changed all sorts of policy. Only they wanted you to believe that the terrorists were a bunch of bad Muslim people, okay, overseas, so they could turn it in on us. But in reality, those bad Muslim people, in many cases, were trained here. We're allowed to do what they do to do here. Okay, we're shepherded here at U.S. military bases with FBI informants, all those things. That's reality. Okay, so really, 9/11 is a terrorist attack. They killed a bunch of civilians, and then they upended our entire political structure. It's the irony of it, and then changed the definition of it. All right. Now let's take it back a little further. Let's do another one that I believe to be, at the end of the day, a false flag, black ops, state-sponsored terror. Now, if you take the word of the government, Tim McVeigh is this ideologue, and he kills children. Okay? Bombs the ATF building, kills children. Again, a civilian population killed. They have nothing to do with the politics that are supposedly being talked about here. And, supposedly because of Waco and the federal government, yada, yada, yada. And yet, when you look at the evidence, and you can go watch my film Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, okay, you find that there are bombs planted in the building. You see them being taken out, all right? And that also, it didn't move us quite to 9/11, but it moved the bar. It did politically change things. And it expanded the power of the government. Weird. Okay. So let's take the United States, for the most part, out of the mix and do another example of what I would call terrorism. Whether you agree with it or not. The PLO and the Olympics. Okay? When the Palestinian Liberation Army came in and they took Jewish athletes, held them hostage, and killed a bunch of them, you could argue, again, that is terrorism. Now, when you look at that, there were certainly state sponsors behind it. Okay? That's it. Of course there were. Did they target a civilian population? Yes. Was it outright political? And at the end of the day, several state sponsored? Yes. All of these things have to do with governments. Okay? So now let's take the governments out of it for a second. And let's talk about one that maybe you could argue is the lone use of domestic terrorism in this country that seems relevant, in my opinion. And that would be the Unabomber. Okay? Now, the Unabomber, again, targeted civilians, however, specific civilians.
Terrorists. 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 You're terrorizing people. You're a terrorist. Period. And what we mean by terrorists, what we mean by people like Bin Laden, okay, those are extreme terrorists. You're just a terrorist. I believe there's different categories to being a terrorist and an extreme terrorist. Bin Laden's an extreme terrorist. Luigi, whatever the hell his name is a terrorist. Okay? And really he's just a murderer. Like Jason just said, technically he's a murderer. But since he technically anybody who commits anything, you're like level 1 terrorist. I think there's tiers to being a terrorist.
Again, he wasn't out there trying to kill civilians in a shock manner for a political purpose. He was anti-technology, and he had targeted people working on that technology. Now, even if he wanted a political outcome in that, obviously didn't happen. All right, but because he targeted civilians, you could make maybe that claim of domestic, and had not just one manifesto. You know, obviously he had the manifesto published saying he would kill again if not, again, making that thing. But if you want to take a broad idea of what terrorism is, and that's when we're going to read this dictionary and thesaurus, you could really categorize anything as that. And I'm sorry, once again, somebody murdering one person in one industry that'll have zero political impact other than as a distraction, all right, and creating a false argument, right, like that somehow this guy deserved it. Look, I'm not here to judge people. That doesn't mean I necessarily like United Healthcare or I'm defending this guy at all. I ain't God, okay? I don't make that decision, right? And that's the big thing. But let's start to wrap this up. Again, thumbs it up, subscribe, share. We're going to be doing several of these a day from now on. We're back in the saddle, everybody. We're back in the saddle. I got to do a little dicka-dicka-do on my Steam Deck, so I'm a little bit more comfortable on what these are. But I want to read this, okay? Let's go to terrorism and terror, because they're very broad, okay? So, first, let's go to terror. All right, terror, intense fear. Okay, yep. One that causes intense fear. The quality of causing such fear. And really that is the basis of any kind of terroristic activity, is to cause fear. Now, you can have fearfulness without terrorism. People are afraid of the damnedest things, aren't they? My niece is scared of spiders. It's the funniest thing when they start to freak out to me over a little spider, okay? Obviously, the spider, not a terrorist. Just throwing that out there. Okay, so let's get to terrorism. The use of force or threats to intimidate, etc., especially as a political policy. Okay, and then terrorize, to terrify, to coerce, make, submit, etc., by filling with terror. Now, here's where it gets interesting. All right, and I think this is also something that people really do need to remember when thinking about this term. And again, this is, I think, 1986. Let's look at it again. I want to get the correct date here. 1984? Is there another date? Oh, nope. Copyright 1996. So wow, this is way later. Huh? We're talking I was almost had graduated high school by that point. As a young whippersnapper. Now here it is. You read this part, in the thesaurus part. All right? So, terrorist, subversive, revolutionary, incendiary, rebel. Oh. Yeah. So, if you take that logic, and you talk about revolutionaries, one man's terrorist, if you will, is another man's freedom fighter. I mean, even today, look what's going on in the Middle East. Look what people want to use as a label. And all I'm saying is it's super dangerous to just throw that label at anything. In fact, it's the last label we should throw at people or organizations except in the most extreme of cases. And look, they perp walked this guy. They didn't need to do that. It's a big media show. And there's a lot of things that they want to expand the definition of terrorism and the use of terroristic charges. They want to do that 100%. They want to expand surveillance on this. They want to restrict gun access. They want to restrict access to digital goods, aka the ghost guns, right? All those things. They want to legitimize coming after you and your social media. This case has all of those hallmarks. All right, folks, you know the drill. It was a bit of a rough start for old Jason Burmis on this one. I need your help. You want these several videos a day, and we're going to do it. Like I said,
All right, he's just promoting at this point, but yeah, dude. I mean, there are different levels to terrorism, and I'm not even gonna sit here and try to act and try to like sugarcoat this. But dude's a terrorist. Dude's another level one. He's a level one terrorist. Level one terrorist, and it's just sickening. It's just sickening. Even like even giving this guy any like airtime. Like I believe they should just like report him and just stop reporting on him. I believe they should just stop reporting on this dude at this point because we all know he's a level terrorist and there are other things to be that needs to be talked about than this level one terrorist freaking whoever the hell this guy is. It's just clown. It's just clown work. Just clown work every day. There is something else I wanted to show y'all too. There is something else I wanted to play out here. Uh, oh yeah, these videos are crazy. I must have clicked on the paid and I don't even know how I clicked on that, but okay. Now it's gonna take me all the way back up. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, see, look, it's gonna take me all the way back up here. I have to scroll all the way back down, find the video. Fucking hate. I hate Google Chrome. I stopped using Google Chrome, and I'm probably gonna stop using it again. I hate using Google Chrome. Cause you gotta update it like every second. I update this crap every second. Look at this value dominant. It's crap. Dude. Shit. Oh yeah. Nah, we'll just watch this. Yeah.
And Nicolas Maduro has
Nah.
reportedly given number of mines to TDA in West.
This is nuts. This is nuts though.
The court therefore accepts your plea guilty and so finds you guilty.
A former Tennessee teacher will spend more than 2 decades behind bars after admitting to multiple sex crimes involving one of her students, including one shocking case where she became pregnant by one of her victims. We're going to break down the horrific details of this case now that it's finally reached its end. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner, in for Jesse Weber.
A 12-year-old?
This is a Law and Crime.
Is this even real news? A 12-year-old? Nigga, how's a 12-year-old? This woman's a molester, dog. No, this woman is she's a molester. This woman is a woman molester. A 12-year-old son?
Legal alert. Did you know that children are a case that stunned a small town in Tennessee? Alyssa McCommon, a
That southern
39-year-old
shit,
former
man.
elementary school teacher
That's
from
a nice house
Covington,
for a
Tennessee,
teacher.
was sentenced to 25 years in
Or
prison
is that a house?
without
Is that
the
the house?
possibility of parole. This comes after she pleaded guilty to several charges involving child sexual abuse. McCommon was convicted of multiple counts of child rape, statutory rape, and sexual exploitation of minors. So let's start at the beginning. The case against McCommon unfolded in August of last year when the mother of a 12-year-old boy came forward to report McCommon had sexually assaulted her son inside McCommon's own home. This victim, who had been one of McCommon's students when she taught at Crestview Elementary School back in 2021, reported that she had invited him over to her house for a sleepover. During that sleepover, he said she woke up in the middle of the night and sexually assaulted him. McCommon's teaching career
How
began.
does a 12-year-old go over to a woman's house for a sleepover? Like, how is that even possible? Like, does she even got kids? They didn't even tell us if she had kids or not. Like, how is that even possible?
To unravel when that allegation was officially brought to light on August 24th of 2023. That same day, the school took immediate action against McCommon, and the Tipton County Director of Schools released a statement saying, quote, "A parent brought forth allegations of misconduct on the morning of August 24th, and the teacher was suspended without pay the same morning pending the outcome of the investigation." End quote.
Suspended without pay. Oh
McCommon
my
was suspended
God.
from her position at
Man.
Covington Charter Academy School. She had previously worked as a 5th grade teacher at Crestview Elementary School before switching to teach 4th grade English/language arts at Charter Academy. McCommon was then arrested on September 8th and charged with 1 count of raping a child. But police soon discovered this wasn't an isolated incident. The investigation by the Covington Police Department revealed that McCommon had targeted multiple students, many of which she had initially befriended through playing video games online, but this digital connection turned dark pretty quickly. Covington police addressed the allegations in a statement saying, quote, "Multiple juvenile victims have come forth stating that they were befriended by their former teacher, McCommon, who began playing video games with them and then further engaged with them through mobile phone social media apps, which led to her allegedly sending inappropriate photographs and requesting sexual relations with the victims." Investigators say she groomed and manipulated the victims, engaging with them on social media platforms like Snapchat, where she sent sexually explicit images and coerced them into sexual encounters. According to police, these interactions took place outside of school, and there was no evidence linking her disturbing actions to any school campus. Now, even with this information coming out, McCommon's lawyers maintained her innocence, telling a local news outlet, WREG, "We believe that it's a borderline witch hunt on social media, and that's frustrating to us." McCommon was arrested on September 8th on charges of rape of a child. McCommon was booked into the Tipton County Jail following her arrest, and she was able to post a $25,000.
I want to know, how did you lure that kid for a sleepover? How did you get the mom to realize it was a sleepover when it really wasn't, or not realize? But how did you even, how did you even, like, how did you even do that? A sleepover?
$1,000 bond, but her release had one specific condition. She was not to have any contact.
So we can catch teachers getting pregnant from 12-year-olds, but we can't catch the missing kids that are being trafficked. We can't catch the traffickers. This is insane.
With the victim or any minors other than her own children. While McCommon was suspended, she eventually resigned from her teaching position on September 14th. But there's so much more to this story that happened after her arrest and resignation. McCommon couldn't follow the rules of her release, and after just 2 weeks of being out, she was rearrested, this time for stalking one of the children. Authorities discovered she had contacted one of the victims on September 16th using an unknown phone number, and police revealed in a statement the disturbing nature of those messages, saying, quote, "The evidence indicates McCommon texted a victim using a specific code word known to the juvenile as a code word McCommon would previously utilize to confirm that the juvenile was alone, often before sending nude photographs on Snapchat." After using the code word on September 28th of 2023, the evidence indicates McCommon sent multiple text messages to the victim indicating.
Honestly, that's why I think, like, if you're not a creator, I don't like sometimes I feel like if you're not a creator or you're not like doing like anything like I don't know, dude. I like I just think certain people need to be monitored on the internet. Like if you even look remotely suspicious, like what is a grown ass woman need Snapchat for? Like what like who are you Snapchatting? Like who are you Snapchatting at the like as a teacher, as a school teacher? Like who are you Snapchatting? Like what is any grown woman Snapchatting unless you really have like unless you have some type of like following or based and stuff like that. I like it just really makes me think like even me, dude, like even I'm not even on social media like that. Like I'm not even trying to be like into social media like that, but it just makes me think like you're a teacher and you have a Snapchat. It's like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like I don't find it I find it kind of weird. Even people even like just everyday regular people like it's just like it's just weird. Like it's just like if you're not posting content, it's like why do you have a social media? Like are you just trying to see what everyone else is doing? Like just get on YouTube. Just get on YouTube. YouTube's not even social media. It's like it's just a lot of good content on here. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but
Stating he would regret doing this. McCommon, using the same number, also admitted to a sexual encounter with the victim. So on September 28th, she headed right back to jail on new criminal charges of coercion of a witness, aggravated stalking and harassment, and was booked back into the Tipton County Jail, this time without bond. But if you thought the bond violation and threatening language was bad, you couldn't possibly imagine where this case is headed next. The most disturbing revelation in this case came in court when prosecutors presented a phone call that was recorded between McCommon and one of her victims, where McCommon said she was pregnant with her victim's child. Now let's take a listen to that call that was played in court.
Forget we ever talked, okay? I'll raise this baby and I love this baby and I'll do it by myself. I'm gonna raise this baby. I can do this. I tried to tell you when it comes out looking like you. We don't have to talk anymore. Just please God tell me you're not gonna say anything. I'll never speak to you again.
So this bombshell evidence indicated pretty clearly that McCommon had not only had sexually assaulted the victim, but also tried to manipulate him into silence after the abuse had occurred. But her defense, however, didn't see this as damning proof and instead questioned the validity of the call, saying, you have to go off what is the actual proof. There was no witness that was presented as a victim or anyone like that to testify this was her. However, DNA testing showed that McCommon was indeed pregnant with a child of one of her victims. It's believed that McCommon may have victimized as many as 21 students between the ages of 12 years old to 17 years old. And in March, she was indicted on nearly 24 charges, which included rape of a child, 5 counts of aggravated statutory rape, 4 counts of sexual exploitation by electronic means, 4 counts of solicitation of a minor to commit aggravated statutory rape, 2 counts of statutory rape by an authority figure,
really
2
thought she
counts
was
of
gonna get away
coercion
with
of a
it.
witness, 2 counts of aggravated stalking violation of the Child Protective Act, tampering with
crazy.
evidence, harassment. The 23 charges are related to 5 victims, and 13 of the charges are concerning one victim alone. Initially, McCommon's trial was supposed to be split in 2. She was going to be tried for just the case focusing on the student she had a child with, and the other trial was going to be focusing on the multiple victims. But that won't happen now, because on December 20th, McCommon decided to enter a guilty plea to charges of rape of a child, statutory rape by an authority figure, aggravated statutory rape, sexual exploitation of a minor by electronic means, and solicitation of a minor, aggravated statutory rape.
Understands the consequences of entering these pleas, has entered into them freely, voluntarily, and intelligently, and that there are sufficient facts to support the pleas. The court therefore accepts your plea of guilty and so finds you guilty.
In taking this deal, prosecutors agreed to drop the other charges against her. McCommon was sentenced to 25 years in prison for her crimes with no possibility of parole. And she is also required to register as a sex offender and have her teacher's license revoked. District Attorney Mark Davidson praised the investigative efforts of law enforcement and prosecutors following the conviction, saying, quote, "These convictions and sentence demonstrate the continuing commitment of law enforcement and the district attorney's office to aggressively investigate."
Yeah, she's pretty much, that's a wrap for that shit. That's a wrap.
Ma'am, can you please state and
Oh
spell
yeah,
your
this
name
one,
for Madam
this
Court
shit
Reporter?
is nuts.
Catherine, Katherine,
This
Thomas,
is nuts.
Thomas.
Ms. Thomas, do you currently live in Tallahassee?
No,
Where do you live?
I live in North Carolina.
Okay. At some point, did you live in Tallahassee?
Yes,
Did you grow up in Tallahassee?
yes,
Do you know who Mike Williams is?
yes.
How do you know Mike Williams?
I know Mike Williams. We met in elementary school,
Okay. What elementary school?
North Florida Christian.
So how long did you know Mike?
I met him when we were in 5th grade, and so I knew him from then and until he passed away.
Were you friends with Mike?
Yes.
Can you describe that friendship? Were you just friends? Did you ever date? Anything like that?
We were friends. We did date, like went together. You know, when we dated, we couldn't drive, so, but we remained friends throughout, you know, our growing up.
Were you friends after high school?
Yes,
Do you know who Denise Williams is?
yes.
When did you first meet Denise Williams, and what was her name at that point?
I met Denise Merrill in 9th grade at North Florida Christian School. We went to high school together.
Were you friends?
We were friends. We weren't best friends in high school, but we were friends. We cheered together, and it was a small school, so you know, everyone knew each other pretty well, and we were friends.
Now, did Mike and Denise date in high school?
Yes, they did.
And they eventually got married, is that right?
That's correct.
Do you know who Brian Winchester is?
Yes.
Who's Brian Winchester?
Brian Winchester, I met him in 9th grade, also at North Florida, and we started dating when I was, we were juniors. We were both juniors in high school, and then we eventually got married also.
When did you get married?
We got married in 1994, May of 1994.
And were Mike and Denise married around that same time frame?
They were married in December, but yes, within the same year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did y'all do things together?
We did.
As couples?
Yes, yes.
Can you describe some of the things that you did together as couples at that point?
Well, we would do things like go out to eat. We would go to movies. You know, the normal, just kind of like, you know, if something, you know, a movie or dinner, you know, just kind of like couple dates type stuff. We
double dating with a
double dating, right? Yes.
Yeah, like normal people do.
We would do both. Brian and Mike would hunt and fish, and so Denise and I would tag along. You know, we would do those sorts of things. Go to the coast and you know, go on a dove hunt, or you know, just things like that. We did couple things like that together.
Now, you and Brian had a son together, is that right?
Yes.
And when was your son born?
He was born in February of 1999.
And Denise and Mike had a daughter?
Correct.
And Ansley was born around the same time as your son?
She was born in May of 99.
Okay. At some point, your marriage to Brian Winchester started to have some problems. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
You eventually separated.
Correct.
When did you separate?
We separated September 11th, 9/11
Of 2001.
2001. Correct.
Okay. And when did you finalize the divorce?
The divorce was final in 2004, April of 2000. April of 2003. I'm sorry.
Ms. Thomas, you're a little nervous today, aren't you?
I am a little bit nervous.
It doesn't sound like she remembered the date too.
And this is hard to talk about. Fair?
Yes.
Did you suspect that Brian Winchester, your husband, was having an affair with Denise Williams?
I did suspect that.
I want to take you back to December of 1999. This is before you're separated.
Okay.
Right? Did you receive a phone call from the Tallahassee Police Department?
Yes.
What was that phone call in reference to?
It was in reference to, there was a police officer who was standing at Brian's truck, and she said, you know, ma'am, I'm here, your truck is in this parking lot. And she was just like doing a call, sort of like, this truck is here. And I guess she had looked at the registration and saw that it was ours. And so she was at Brian's truck.
And she gave a description of the truck to you?
She did, because
And did that match everything down?
yes, I was like, that, you know, it can't be. And she said, well, it has a bumper sticker, you know, this bumper sticker, this bumper sticker, this bumper sticker. And so I was like, well, yes, that is our vehicle.
Well, you just said it can't be. Why did this, why couldn't it be Brian's truck?
Brian had told me that he was in Arkansas hunting. And so I was confused as to why she was telling me that she was at the truck, because I had been told by Brian that he was in Arkansas with the truck hunting.
Now, were you told the location of the truck? Was it at a church?
Yes, it was at a church, Grace Church, or Grace is in the name. I'm not sure.
Supposedly at the church.
Generally located, was that close to where Denise Williams was living at the time?
Yes.
Where was Denise Williams living at the time?
She was living at on Centennial Oaks Drive.
I want to fast forward a little bit. Now I want to talk to you about a trip that you took to Panama City. Do you remember a trip like that?
Yes.
Who went on that trip? Actually, let's start with this. Who was supposed to go on
I really should have put the thumbnail on this. I really apologize.
It was supposed to be the four of us. It was supposed to be me and Brian and Denise and Mike.
What was the purpose of the trip? Why were you going to Panama City?
It was supposed to be like a birthday trip.
Whose birthday were we celebrating?
Denise's 30th birthday.
Okay. And so she was born in 1970, is that right?
Yes.
And so her 30th birthday would have been when?
2000.
Okay. Do you know what month we're talking about that the trip was planned?
It would have been, you know, spring, March or April.
Okay.
You know, I don't know how the weekends would have lined up, but.
Springtime of 2000.
Correct.
And what was the plan? Were you meeting someplace and driving over together, or what?
The plan was for Mike and Denise to come over to our house on Minnow Creek Drive, and we were going to all drive together over there.
And
to Panama City.
Did Mike show up?
No.
Did Denise show up?
Yes.
Were you informed that Mike wasn't going?
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
I didn't want to go.
Why?
Because at that point in our lives, whenever it was just me
I'll be right back.
with Brian and Denise, it was uncomfortable. I felt like a third wheel. I felt like I was on a date with the two of them.
So how did you respond to the idea of going to Panama City with Denise and your husband?
I said, if Mike doesn't have to go, I don't have to go either. I didn't want to go. And I had, I guess, sort of a little tantrum, and I ran inside and I locked myself in the bathroom and I said, I'm not going.
But you eventually went.
I did.
Why did you go?
Just because as I was there in the bathroom, they were on the other side just talking me into going.
Okay.
And
so let's talk about the trip itself. When you got there, do you remember going out to clubs?
I do.
Okay. Do you remember going to a strip club?
I do.
Was Brian and Denise both present for that?
Yes.
Did you drink a lot that weekend or on that trip?
Yes.
Do you remember having photographs taken of you?
I don't remember specifically the moments but when I saw the photograph, I knew what it was.
Okay. Who took the picture?
Brian did.
Yeah, I do not look like this.
Do you remember any other details of what happened after those photographs would have been taken?
I don't remember specifically a lot about that weekend.
Now, at some point, did you find some movie tickets?
I did.
Did that increase your suspicion that Brian was having an affair?
Yes, it did.
Where did you find the movie tickets?
I found them in his wallet.
In whose wallet?
I found them in Brian's wallet.
Okay.
I found 2 movie tickets.
What was the movie that the tickets were for?
It was for a movie called The Virgin Suicides.
And just to be clear, these used tickets or tickets that you bought beforehand?
They were used tickets,
Okay.
and I knew I had not gone to see the movie, so it was like
that raised your suspicions?
Yes, it was like.
Okay. What does the name Meridian mean to you?
Meridian is a name that when we would go out, it was a name that kind of became a party name for Denise.
Okay. Who came up with the name?
I cannot remember specifically whose idea it was. She lived on Meridian Road at that time, and we had gone to a concert at the Moon, and at the end of the concert, you could go up to the band and they would sign a CD or whatever. And that night, she had them, she was like, oh, say to Meridian, so they signed it. I remember them signing it to her. And so it just kind of became.
So you've seen Denise use the name Meridian before?
Yes.
Did you ever find a receipt that referenced the name Meridian?
I did.
Can you tell the jury where you found that receipt?
I had gone into Brian's office, and this is when I was contemplating what my next steps would be as far as moving out. We didn't have bills sent to our house. He would have all of our bills sent to his office. So I had gone to his office one evening and I was just looking through his desk drawers, just trying to find out information about our financial life.
And you came across the receipt?
And I came across the receipt.
Judge, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Ms. Thomas, I'm going to show you on the mark in State's Exhibit 20. Is this the receipt that you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair and accurate copy of that receipt?
Yes, it is.
Judge, I would offer State's Exhibit 20 into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
A little more foundation on the date of the receipt, Your Honor.
Sure, Your Honor. There's a date on the receipt. What is the date on that?
It says 07/28/01.
Is that during the time that you just testified to?
Yes.
Judge, I would offer State's Exhibit 20.
Further objection? I didn't hear.
No objection.
All right, it'll be admitted without objection.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Now, Ms. Thomas, this is obviously a copy, and we can't flip over the first part of the receipt. Is that right?
That's correct.
Judge, do you have a laser
I do.
Can you point out the date of the area that the date is found?
Right there.
Okay. Where was this receipt from? May I approach the witness, Judge?
You may.
I know it's kind of hard to read it.
It's from the Gold Center.
From, I didn't hear you.
The Gold Center.
Okay.
And you were able to actually at one point look at the entire receipt. Is that fair?
Yes.
What was the receipt for?
It was for a necklace, and it was during a time when it was kind of popular to have a name on like a gold name, and it was the name Meridian. It was like a necklace with the name Meridian. So I knew what that was, and that's what the receipt was for one of those necklaces.
And that date is the late July of 2001.
Correct.
That's before you separated from Brian Winchester, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And you separated from Brian Winchester approximately about a month after that.
Mm-hmm.
A month and a half?
Right. Mm-hmm.
She's trying to take down what you say, so
Oh.
if you'll say yes or
Yes.
no, it'll
Okay.
assist her, please.
I'm sorry.
And ultimately you divorced Brian Winchester.
Yes, sir.
I want to fast forward now to August of 2016. Were you aware that Brian Winchester kidnapped Denise Williams, who was then Denise Winchester?
Yes.
Okay. After that occurred, did you have conversations with Denise Williams about what occurred?
Yes.
About a week after that incident, that kidnapping, did Denise ask you to do something?
Yes.
What did she ask you to do?
Denise asked me to tell Marcus to get a message to Brian that I'm not talking.
And that was a week approximately after the kidnapping?
Yes.
Sometime after that, did you start communicating with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Yes.
me go back. Who's Marcus?
Marcus is Brian Winchester's father, Marcus Winchester.
Okay. When you say I'm not talking, is it referring that Kathy Thomas is not talking or Denise Williams is not talking?
That Denise was not talking. She wanted me to tell Marcus, to tell Brian that she wasn't talking. And she said, I'm not talking. But that was her saying that to me.
Okay. After that, at some point, did you start having communications with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE?
Yes.
Was there anyone in particular that you started communicating with?
William Michler and Mike Devaney.
And at some point after that, did you agree to start working as a confidential source?
Yes, I did.
As part of that, were you given a way to make recordings?
Yes.
After that, did you ever confront Denise about what she asked you to do that week after the kidnapping?
Yes, I did.
Did you record that conversation?
Yes, sir.
Judge, may I approach?
You may.
Ms. Thomas, I'm showing you what marked State's Exhibit 16. This is a recording. Did you have a chance to review this in our office before your testimony today?
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the recording that you made?
Yes.
Judge, I would offer State's Exhibit 16 into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
It'll be admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
And I'm headed over to my mom's I've got a test tonight, and so I'm a study and meet over there, and people are going to be coming in and out, so I'm just going to go be over there till tonight. So you're driving back, so does that mean Rex is worse, or you were headed back anyway, or?
Well, I was headed back anyways, but this way, if
Yo, this sounds real crazy right now. Like, this sounds unbelievably crazy.
you know, if Rocky needs to come, he can.
Yeah. And you got the.
I think we ought to have her identify who's talking so the jury can follow it a little bit better.
There's two people on this recording, is that right?
Yes.
One voice is yours?
Yes.
And who's the other voice?
Denise.
Okay.
Right, it wasn't there, right?
I did. I got the ring. It was in my purse.
Lisa Lava would not shut up, so I couldn't even talk to you. I was just like, okay, I'll just stick it in your purse.
Hang on 1 second. I just got in the car. I just stopped to get coffee. Let me get...
That person who just said, I just got in the car, I just got to get coffee, whose voice is that?
That was me.
Okay, so the other voice is Denise.
That's right.
All right. Okay, so I am... is starting to mist again. This is going to be like a miserable drive. So I'm kind of freaking out about this subpoena.
I'm sure. When is it?
It's February 22nd.
Person who's talking about a subpoena, that was your voice, right?
Yes.
And the person who said, I'm sure, that's Denise Williams' voice.
That's correct.
When you're talking about a subpoena, what are you talking about?
Well, as one of the things that, as a confidential source, that William Michler, you know, we were going to say that I had received a subpoena, so that that was going to be a subpoena for me to have to talk to Mr. Devaney about, you know, the case. I had received a subpoena from Mike Devaney, and this was all under the
So that never happened.
That never happened. That was part of being the confidential source.
That's how we're getting everything to
Correct.
bring up the subject.
To bring up the subject, correct. For me to talk to her and say, I have received this subpoena, I'm gonna have to talk about this, and this conversation is us talking about what I'm going to be saying in that supposed subpoena.
Okay.
Come back to it. Like, you don't have, like, you have to travel, and they can't do it up there, all that kind of stuff.
The attorney that I talked to, he's just like a mortgage attorney.
Yeah.
So he said, he's like, I could call. He's like, I don't do this, but I could call and see if you could do it over. He's like, you would have to go somewhere where you would get sworn in, because the whole thing is like getting sworn in.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, just let me kind of figure out what I'm going to do.
Because Andy had said that to you. Remember when you were going to get deposition? Yeah. That was a subpoena too.
Right.
But I don't know if they ever did it. But
No, they didn't ever do it.
I just can't imagine that. What if somebody lived in Alaska or in another country, or I don't know, whatever.
Well, here's my problem, and I'm gonna get upset here, but my problem is that I can't really talk to Rocky about any of this.
Who's Rocky?
He's my husband, my current husband.
All right, thank you.
Because I know they're wanting to talk to me about Mike. And over the time that we've been married, I've always just pretended like I don't know anything. And I do know.
What do you know?
Well, do you remember back when all of that happened with you and Brian and Chuck in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Well, Brian called me at the shop crying and
before or after?
Mad. Well, I don't know, because I didn't know that all of that had happened until Chuck wrote me a letter.
Uh-huh. But
Brian had figured out that you were cheating on him with Chuck. And he just told me about Mike.
What did he say? He called you upset about Chuck, and then he wanted to talk about Mike.
He was mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told me about what happened to Mike.
Well, I would love to know what happened to Mike. He never told me. They said they found his remains and that he was beaten or that he was shot.
Brian told me that y'all planned it.
Planned what? my God.
And Marcus showed up at the shop later that afternoon, you know, telling me how.
This gotta be the craziest shit I've ever heard. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. This is insane, this is insane. Oh my God.
Oh, I would have to take this to my grave, that it would ruin Stafford's life, it would ruin, you know, apparently Brian told Marcus that he had talked to me, and he went on to just tell me, Marcus went on to tell me how my life would be ruined, how I would never be able to start over, if Stafford's life was ruined, if...
So Marcus knew? And when you said Brian said y'all, you're talking about me and Brian or Marcus or who?
You and Brian. And whenever...
And that Marcus is involved? I mean, obviously, if he came and talked to you.
Well,
Marcus
it was just the whole, you know, shut down. So, you know, whenever,
what in the world?
I mean, it's.
And then you got a letter from Chuck. My parents got a letter too. But you got a letter from Chuck, and he's talking about it too, or no?
Chuck told me what happened in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, okay, yeah.
So, here's the deal. Here is the deal. Hang on, somebody's texting me. It's Rocky. Rex is not doing well.
Oh. But yeah, that's pretty major, especially with Marcus involved.
Well, I mean, I know that you know something, Denise, because whenever I was going out to see Marcus, you're like, tell Marcus to tell Brian I'm not talking.
Yeah.
And I knew what that meant.
Well, that's why, because what they've been doing is they've been lying to me and they've been lying to them. And obviously, I mean, because you told me the thing about him saying what I wrote in the letter to the judge, which I didn't. And so they're playing everybody against each other.
Here's the thing. I don't even care about all that anymore because time has moved on. Mike is in heaven. So here is my problem. Here is like my problem is Rocky doesn't know any of this. Rocky doesn't know that I know in all these years, anytime anything ever came up about Mike, I just sit with my mouth shut. He never would have married me if he had known.
This has nothing to do with you.
It has everything. I have been lying to him for 15 years.
But you're talking about something, Chuck, happened years later. So then you're saying that years later, Brian told you something, Marcus came to you, so two people came to you to talk to you about this years after it happened.
And somehow someone got killed in all of this. This is crazy. You would think this would be on the judge show, but somebody got killed. So apparently, this is crazy. This is like a reality show, except someone got killed.
Had you met Rocky then?
Yes.
I mean, but what that has to do with is two people telling you something. That has nothing to do with you and anything that you did or anything that you didn't do. I mean, it doesn't. And there's nothing you can't tell Rocky. I know that. I'm sure of that. So that's why you were talking about losing your family.
I am going to lose my family. If I lie, whenever they ask me, do you know what happened to Mike? If I lie, then now what happens? And then when I go home and Rocky says, why didn't you ever say anything? Like, how do I explain that? How do I explain that I just decided to forget it? He never would have married me.
I don't believe that. But because you didn't, it has nothing to do with
because he hates lying.
Well,
I've never lied to him about anything, but every time that anything comes up about Mike, that is a lie. That
you didn't tell him what Brian told you, and you didn't tell him what Marcus told you.
Right.
So again, it's two things that two people told you, but it's not you. It's not he fell in love with you. It's not you.
Well, what am I supposed to do when they ask me?
I mean,
what am I supposed to do?
Was he pushing? He was pushing you on the phone about it. Is that what you were saying?
Oh, you gotta say something.
Yeah. It's like, why do you have this? Why do they want to talk to you?
I mean, my guess was because you were married to Brian at the time. You knew Brian. I'm guessing that. I don't know. I mean, if all this is tied to this guy that he talked to, then I'm guessing he wanted to talk to you because you were friends with us. But I mean, but again, it has nothing to do with Rocky or your girls or your family. Nothing. They weren't even around then, and you weren't either. This is years later. Because I'm trying to think. It was at least 3 years later. When I was with Chuck. And I mean, Rocky's not gonna... Stuff that you kept inside that people have told you. If you decide to tell him, he's going to be fine. If you don't, he's not going to, you're not going to leave. He's not going to be like, we're getting a divorce. I mean, there's no way. There's no way. And if you would have told him back then when y'all were engaged or getting engaged or whatever, it had nothing to do with him meeting you, him falling in love with you, him wanting to marry you, your family. It has to do with Brian and Marcus.
Don't sound like it to me.
You know what I'm saying?
How you been wired for 15 years? He been doing that for
So it's
15
February 22nd,
years.
is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
15 years, 15 years, folks.
And is it a trial? Because it said a witness something. I didn't understand what that term meant. Because I've got subpoenas before for depositions.
It's at home. I don't have it with me. It says it just says that like I have to go down to the state attorney's office at 10 o'clock in the morning.
The state attorney. Yeah, because I think that's where I had to go to. And you and Marcus, have y'all ever spoken since? Has he ever said anything to you since?
No. It's just been understood that, if I ever said anything, then everything, all the stupid shit we ever did, everybody would know, and everybody would know, and wouldn't that be awful, and, Mike's in a better place, and so, but I don't know.
I mean, him saying all that to you, again, that's using fear and the unknown to try to control you. I mean, it's typical,
Denise, I'm just going to ask you this because I've been thinking about it, but, not long before Mike called me, and he had found a bunch of money in your wallet, and he said, I think Denise has a boyfriend. He said he found a bunch of money in your wallet, a bunch of cash, And he said that you told him something about Deanna, that you told him that Deanna had paid you back for something, and he said that he had asked Deanna, and Deanna said that wasn't true.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember all that.
But I remember thinking, like, he knows that Denise and Brian like each other. And, like, I've always thought to myself, if I had said, Mike, I think Brian has a girlfriend, I've always wondered if he would still be here. Like, why couldn't y'all just get a divorce? I've always known that you and Brian loved each other. Brian told me one time that you were his best friend, and that was just the way it was always going to be. Did Mike find out?
No, that was all. I remember him calling Deanna. I'm pretty sure he told me that he had called you. But I know for sure he called Deanna because we talked about it. And I remember the conversation. I don't remember. I remember us talking about it. I remember that we were talking about Carol because of, like, the pot and stuff like that. I remember talking about that with him. And I think Carol ended up talking to him because and I don't remember how much money it was. I don't remember. I do remember money, and I do remember a conversation about pot and Carol and Deanna. And I remember that he had talked to Deanna too, so I had to tell her about all that. But so I do remember that. Yeah, I guess I didn't know that he had talked to you, but. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't do anything with I couldn't do anything with the divorce. I couldn't do anything with any of this without talking to an attorney. And mainly, I just talk with Becky's husband and then whoever Kristen tells me to talk to. But I don't know. I mean, that's all up to you. And telling Rocky too is up to you. But again, I don't see him. I just see him being like, oh my God, and I don't see him being like, we're getting a divorce. And surely you don't see that.
I do see that because I just know that, like, every year if it comes up and, if there's something in the paper, and then I just know, like, I know he would have said, why didn't you ever tell me? That's how he is, because he is good and honest. He's not like us. He's good and honest. And he will just say, if you've kept this from me, what else? But if I go to the interview and I'm just like, I don't know anything. I mean, what if they catch me lying? And then what happens?
I have no idea. I mean, they told me that day that Brian did all that to me. They told me that we've been talking to Brian. He's been saying this, that, or the other. I mean, they told me all kinds of crap. And come to find out, one of the attorneys told me that they went in there to talk to him because they had found him. And they went in there to talk to him, and that Jansen was already there, and he didn't say one word. So, I don't know. So what my point in telling you that is, they could say, oh, we know they can say whatever they want to say, and it's legal for them to do that. So whether they ever say, we know you're lying, or we whatever, I mean, you don't know. You have no idea if it's true or not, because I usually find out later what's the actual truth. And yeah, the guy asked me about you, but he just asked me about our relationship or whatever. That guy Mike, when he was fishing me in when he started questioning.
When you went into the police?
Yeah, but I mean, it was just, what was your relationship and stuff like that. It wasn't anything about Marcus's name didn't come up or anything like that. Well, I'm sure I would guess if they are doing this to you, they're doing this to Marcus. I mean, but I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm thinking that when I get back, I'm going to get just they called me while I was in town. I don't know how they know I was in town. And so I'm gonna get just like a throwaway phone, because God, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm just scared. I just feel like, why do they keep calling me? Like calling me this weekend and left a message that they knew I was in town. So I think that they're listening to me.
Probably. I mean, I don't know, but they could be. I don't know. I mean, my advice to you is to talk to Rocky.
I can't. I cannot do that. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't even have a job.
I just don't think it's going to be what you think it's going to be. I really don't. And I don't know how you can be married to him for the next however many years and not say anything if it's bothering you that
15 years, y'all. 15
It
years.
wasn't bothering me until I got a
15
subpoena.
years.
Until I have to do it.
15 years. That's crazy.
That's the only
15 years.
And I think he would, then it could be him helping you, you know. I mean, I don't think that he would be like, goodbye.
It is starting to rain hard. I'm going to have to go for a sec. I'm going to have to go.
Okay. But I mean, after hearing all this, that's what I think. And I think that you're wrong. I think you're right about him being a kind, good person. And I think that these are things that people told you years after Mike died. I don't think he's gonna be like, we're getting divorced and never talking to you again. I really don't. But you know better. But I just don't.
I'm gonna pull over here.
Be careful, my
All right, yeah, I gotta go.
Okay, all right, be careful. Bye-bye.
That other voice on the tape is Denise Williams, right?
Yeah, 15 years, y'all. Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. 15 years. That shit is crazy. What else we got? Oh, the Diddy stuff. Oh man. See, you're probably
A
wondering.
major ruling against both P. Diddy.
You're probably wondering, man, why isn't he watching the New Year's Eve parade, the New Year's Eve parade and stuff? It's like, dude, nobody wants to watch celebrities sit there and perform and stuff like that. It is like the most hypocrisy shit in the world. It's like, bro, you're sitting there watching the same shit. Like it's just old, man. It's just like no one wants to sit there and watch celebrities all damn day. Like no one cares. No one cares about celebrities. And if you do, there is truly something wrong with you. There's truly something wrong with you. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, 2025 is gonna be crazy, but No, it's gonna be crazy because we're gonna have a new president. We're gonna have a actual good president. You know, someone who's actually gonna be interestingly on yeah, it's just gonna be interesting. This is gonna be interesting. Who wants to watch this?
And Jay-Z, as a judge rules a rape accuser can remain anonymous, at least for now. And the judge gets spicy in her ruling too, calling out Jay-Z's attorney for filing what she says is a litany of motions that are a waste of judicial resources. But before we can get into this latest motion, let's take a few steps back to look at the basics. Sean Combs, P. Diddy, has been living at the Metropolitan Detention Center for the past 3 months now. That's because he faces federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. But Diddy's fall from grace came far before his September arrest, but rather last November, when the first civil suit against him was filed alleging sexual abuse. Since then, there have been almost too many civil lawsuits to keep up with, and another high-profile name has recently made its way into a filing: Jay-Z. Sean Carter, Beyonce's husband, whatever you know him as, is now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at one of P. Diddy's parties. We reported on this specific lawsuit back when it was filed in October, but here's a quick refresher. The woman who filed this civil suit is listed only as Jane Doe. She hasn't revealed her true identity and doesn't have to, at least for now, but more on that later. Now, Jane Doe says she met Diddy's limo driver outside the MTV Video Music Awards in September 2000. He told her, quote, Combs liked younger girls and said she'll fit what Diddy was looking for, not allowing her into the awards, but inviting her to an after party. Later that night, the driver brought her to a large white house that was behind a gated fence, and inside, she saw multiple celebrities she recognized, and of course, P. Diddy. According to her suit, once inside, 2 men asked plaintiff, that's Jane Doe, to sign a non-disclosure agreement, informing her that she could not discuss what happened at the party. She gave them her name and signed the form, but did not receive a copy. Eventually, Jane Doe accepted a drink at this party. She says it was a reddish-yellow mixture and tasted like orange juice, cranberry juice, and something else bitter mixed in. Jane Doe now believes Diddy or one of his associates slipped something into her drink. After all of this, Jane Doe had some of the drink. She says she started feeling woozy and wanted to lie down. So she went into what she thought was an empty room but did not lock the door. The next part is a direct quote from Jane Doe's lawsuit, and it's pretty disturbing. Quote, soon after, Combs, along with a male and female celebrity, entered the room. Combs aggressively approached plaintiff Jane Doe with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her, and said, you are ready to party. In the original filing, Jane Doe listed the other people in the room as Celebrity A and Celebrity B. We all knew that Celeb A was a man and Celeb B was a woman. There had been rumblings that Celebrity B is actually Jennifer Lopez, who was Diddy's girlfriend at the time, but that has not been confirmed. What has been confirmed, though, at least according to Jane Doe, is that Celebrity A is Jay-Z. In December, Jane Doe amended her lawsuit to publicly name Jay-Z, alleging he raped her that night. And again, reminder, she's only 13 at the time. Jay-Z completely denies these allegations. He's made a motion earlier this month even for Jane Doe to reveal her identity. And that's not the first time we've seen this tactic, and the last time it actually worked. We reported on this too. The original Jane Doe, who filed civil suit against Diddy in late 2023, the one who included pictures in her lawsuit, was just recently ordered to reveal her name publicly. And that's when we learned that Jane Doe is actually Anna Kane. She's known mostly as the ex-wife of hockey player Evander Kane. So following this same pattern, Jay-Z's team filed a motion demanding Jane Doe make her name public. Here's what his team wrote. Admissions by the plaintiff, meaning Jane Doe, and damning admissions by her own father in a December 13 revelatory NBC interview cast yet further doubt on a claim that was obviously false from the start. The timeline, location, and occurrence of events alleged in plaintiff's complaint are rendered impossible by these admissions. She claims her father picked her up after the assault, and this next part they mean to write, he took a 5-hour trip. She claims she spoke with musician Benji Madden that night. He was not even in New York. She claims the assault took place at an after party
Benji
hosted in a
Madden.
private residence. Photos show Mr. Carter at an after party at a nightclub. When pressed by NBC, plaintiff
Wonder if Benji Madden is Steve Madden's child. Probably not. No, it says musician. Never mind. I just read it. I don't know why I thought that was Steve Madden's kids.
was forced to admit, I've made some mistakes. I may have made a mistake in identifying. Not all faces there are as clear, and even that she was guessing about key details, including the time it took to reach the venue. What is more, she admits she does not have a single corroborating witness over the last 24 years. In this motion, Jay-Z's team calls for an immediate preservation order, suggesting that Tony Busby, Jane Doe's attorney, could destroy key evidence in the case. The filing even says there's a substantial risk that this may happen. So Jay-Z wants this preservation order, but if not that, he wants the lawsuit completely thrown out and dismissed. But the judge wasn't going for it. This is the spicy part of the motion we mentioned earlier. To start, she broke down the criteria for keeping a plaintiff's name out of a lawsuit, saying there are several key factors in play in Jane Doe's case. One, whether the litigation involves matters that are highly sensitive and of a personal nature. Two, whether identification poses a risk of retaliatory physical or mental harm to the party seeking to proceed anonymously, or even more critically, to innocent non-parties. Another risk, whether the plaintiff is particularly vulnerable to the possible harms of disclosure, particularly in light of her age, and whether the plaintiff's identity has thus far been kept confidential. Now, the motion lays out the pros and cons of keeping Jane Doe's name quiet. The judge notes, most importantly, plaintiff's continued anonymity may cause prejudice to defendants, making it more difficult for them to collect the facts necessary to mount a defense and, as appropriate, challenge plaintiff's credibility. But she says, nevertheless, at this exceedingly early stage in this case, the factors counseling against disclosure outweigh those that counsel in favor. So the judge granted Jane Doe's motion to remain anonymous, at least for now. She does note, though, that the court intends to revisit this decision at a future date. After all this, the judge addresses Jay-Z's prior motion and basically calls out his defense team. She says they have, quote, submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of plaintiff's lawyer, many of them expounding on the purported urgency of this case. This next part is extra fiery. Quote, Carter's lawyers' relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources and a tactic unlikely to benefit his clients. The court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. So we've gone through the motion and the ruling on paper, but what does all of that really mean? So we're joined now by criminal defense attorney Adam Conta to take a closer look at the judge's ruling. Now, Adam, is this a win for Jane Doe, do you think, to remain anonymous?
Yeah, it's a win for Jane Doe, certainly, but it's like a short win. It's really much more of a loss for the legal team of Jay-Z and Diddy.
Why would you say that? Because the judge was kind of harsh to Jay-Z and Diddy in her response?
Yeah, this is sort of like, if a child asks you for something and you're trying to like teach them a lesson, you say, no, not right now. Go be good for a little while, then come back and ask me again. That is almost exactly what Judge Annalisa Torres did here. She wanted to send a message directly to Alex Spiro, who is obviously one of the most prolific attorneys in the country right now. I've known him for 20 years. He started as a DA in Manhattan. I knew him as a DA in Manhattan. I had cases against him as a DA in Manhattan. And he's gone on to do incredible things. But he has a very specific style. And there's a lot of people who don't like that style. And Judge Torres is one of them. He's now twice kind of taken the reins and tried to take control of the narrative of cases by putting on sort of these preemptive press conferences. He did it with Mayor Adams, and he did it now with Jay-Z, where he goes to the press and essentially puts on a PowerPoint and says, hey, this is why I think this case is garbage. This is all the inconsistencies. This is where this case fails. But it's obviously from his point of view. And so the judge doesn't like that. The other side of that, especially for me as a defense attorney, is, well, that's what the DAs do every time they make a big arrest. That's what the federal prosecutors do every time they make a big arrest. They go in front of the camera and they put on this sort of dog and pony show press conference to like tell the nation why this is such a just arrest, why this is such a just prosecution, and to try to get public opinion behind them as they move forward in the case. It's really Alex Spiro doing the exact opposite thing to help his client, but the judge really didn't like it. And so all of that is to say that this ruling to me is specifically directed at Alex Spiro, saying, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like all the motions you're filing. I don't like how you're going about handling this case. And if you continue to do it, you're not the only one who's got some tricks up their sleeve. I can also do things to make this process more difficult.
Yeah, the second half of this motion was kind of crazy. She really called him out. I thought it was really interesting to go through the motion and read it. And it sounds like it was a major tactic on his side to do these press conferences, as you said, file these motions. So if he doesn't stop doing that and just continues bombarding her with all of these motions, what sort of response could the judge have?
If I'm being honest, not much. You know, I mean, the federal court system has a lot of power, and the judges there have a lot of power, and they demand a level of respect that that sometimes judges in state court don't demand. And I say respect, actually, it's more formality. They demand a formality in the process, and so they can do these things, and they can make your life very difficult. But they don't have a lot of leverage, especially over someone like Alex Spiro, who works at a private firm. You know, the judges can't stop him from continuing to bring in a stream of business. And the reality is that even though this victim's name has been continued to be made anonymous for the public for now, that just cannot continue. Because what the judge is doing currently is balancing the public's need for information and the defense's need for information so they can prepare for trial versus the effect that this will have on the alleged victim and her psyche. And obviously the world knows that as soon as her name is revealed, everyone is going to come down on her, from the media to her, to his attorneys, to the social media. You're going to get it from all sides. And so she's doing this victim, the alleged victim, a favor right now by keeping her anonymous, but it's just not practical. So if he keeps doing this, getting back to your question, if he keeps filing these motions, if he keeps making the process difficult, she could sanction him, but she would really have to prove that his motions were not just frivolous, but almost malicious. But ultimately, she's going to have to sign off on revealing the identity of this alleged victim. And there's nothing that's going to stop that from happening if this case continues to move forward.
Yeah, this guy's done, dog. This dude, we know P. Diddy's probably done, but Jay-Z, I mean, like, I mean, dude, good luck beating this.
Let's talk a bit more about Jane Doe and her identity yet to be revealed, because as of right now, we just have Jane Doe. But if we refer back to previous cases, there was another Jane Doe case. We just recently learned her name, Anna Kane. It came out, the judge ruled. So do you think in this case, the judge could maybe reference that other one and say, okay, time's running out. We got to know your name. It's just the way it's got to go.
But how do you realize after all these years, how do you go through something and then realize after all these years that like you've been fucked over, like something bad happened in your life? It's like being in a marriage and like you just been married to this person and just didn't even realize like it's like being married to somebody you get beat every day and didn't realize like, oh yeah, like I didn't realize this person was hitting me every single day. Like it's like, did you not feel like, it's just like, what kind of nonsense is this? And maybe the women are lying, maybe they're not. I don't know. In most cases the women are lying. But this is just tough, man. I mean, going into the new year with allegations of like being accused of rape is like pretty freaking detrimental. It's pretty detrimental to the career. Imagine you get this far in your career and then years later they're saying, oh yeah, you raped me. So like, what are you talking about? But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We gonna have to see, y'all. We got to see.
Yeah, this is a major news story because it's related to Jay-Z, because it's related to Diddy, and even because the attorneys, Tony Busby and Alex Spiro, involved. Those are names that are big names right now. And so it gets attention, but this isn't an unusual thing. There are plenty of cases that all of us in the criminal justice world have had where we want to know a victim's name. We want to know more information on an undercover cop. We want to know an alleged victim of sexual assault, so we can get an investigator, so we can do our research, so we can do all these things. And even without the bright lights of Hollywood and the media and scrutiny of social media, judges still routinely rule in favor of protecting someone's identity in this situation. So I don't think this is sort of outside the box where no other judge or judicial review committee is going to look at Annalisa Torres' decision and say, wow, this is so unreasonable. This is going to get overturned immediately. This is outrageous. You're not hearing any of that. In fact, if you look at some of these articles, they'll even say, you know, this is kind of a routine thing. But the reality is, like the case you just referenced, at some point, it is impossible to prepare. It is impossible to confront your accuser, which you have a constitutional right to do, unless you have their identity, unless you can do some real meaningful work. And getting the name of the accuser the day before trial or a week before trial, which some of us have had happen, is mostly a thing of the past now, because appeals courts have been pretty clear that that is a massive prejudice to be able to put on a reasonable and meaningful defense for your client.
And this is something that Judge Torres referenced specifically in her motion. She basically said, I will keep this quiet. Your name will be Jane Doe for now, but I reserve the right to change my mind. And according to what you're saying, it sounds like she might. What could a timetable look like for that, for us to know Jane Doe's true identity?
It's hard to say. I mean, part of what the judge was angry about was Alex Spiro's constant barrage of letters, which she found combative, full of inflammatory language. But the heart of those letters was essentially, let's move this along. Let's do this as fast as possible. So even if she's trying to stop him from doing that, I don't think there's going to be a shift in strategy on trying to move this case forward as fast as possible. They want this case resolved and done as fast as possible. Now, sometimes that's just puffery, but we'll see as this case goes on. If you see a continuance of Mr. Spiro's sort of pursuing getting this to trial quickly, then that's going to shorten up the timeline. A lot of times attorneys ask for more time to review discovery, to prepare, to find witnesses. But in this case, it sounds like they want to push this as fast as possible. So the closer we get to a hearing or a trial that has some sort of meaningful result attached to it, then the judge will be forced to turn over, well, not turn over, the judge will be forced to reverse her decision and make the name public.
Something we have to remember from this specific Jane Doe lawsuit is it gave us the bombshell revelation of Jay-Z's involvement. So when it was first filed, he was simply Celebrity A, and there's a Celebrity B, but we didn't know who he was. Now we know it's Jay-Z. It's been amended to actually have his name in there, Sean Carter. But there's still Celebrity B, a female celeb. We don't know who she is. Do you think her identity could be revealed?
You know, that's going to be probably up to Tony Busby, the attorney for the plaintiff. Clearly, they're trying to use these sort of Celebrity A pseudonyms as leverage. And you can see what happened when they put Sean Carter in there. I think it was first filed in October, and then they put him in only a few weeks ago on December 8th. And look what we're doing now. We're talking about it. It's in the news. It kind of had died down, the specific allegations. It was more just sort of an umbrella story about Diddy and what his parties meant and sort of what they mean right now in the legal world and in the world of media. But now that they've added Jay-Z's name specifically to it, it's obviously getting a whole new wave of attention and more focused attention on this victim. So I think it's going to be tied to the media cycle, if I had to guess, and how these rulings continue. And they have this celebrity name that is sort of waiting to take over the headlines when they choose to release it. So I think it will be added, but it's going to be a strategic time.
What about additional lawsuits? Because Tony Busby, the name you've been mentioning a lot, has said, he said there were thousands of allegations, but he says he's going to file more than 100 civil lawsuits. So we obviously know that P. Diddy is going to be involved in this, but could Jay-Z, could other celebrities that have yet to be named?
Yeah, of course. Just put a dartboard up, put any celebrity you want on there and just throw a dart. And any one of them could be involved. I mean, how many people have you heard named that were at these parties? Like, these were synonymous. When you said party, Hollywood party in the early 2000s, Diddy was synonymous with that. There's a sketch you can find online of the opening scene to the VMAs, right? The MTV Video Music Awards. The whole point of the sketch is that everyone was at a Diddy party. The whole thing is surrounded about glorifying Diddy's parties. And so everyone who was hot during that time period was at one of these parties. I mean, Jay-Z, LeBron James, Ashton Kutcher. I mean, the list is endless of celebrities who were there. But obviously being there has no association with this type of wrongdoing. This is so beyond the pale of attending a party. And so, yeah, I mean, you could see anybody's name, but please keep in mind that just attending a party does not mean you were involved in some litany of sexual assaults on a minor or an adult. So I wonder, as this goes on, you know, I think we're going to start seeing more stories on both sides. You just saw from Blake Lively, which is a completely separate story, but you can see from her and what's come about her recently that if you want to do a smear campaign against someone, there are firms out there. That's their whole job. And I think what we're learning right now is it's not that difficult. You get a few people and a few key pieces, and you can really turn the tide of public opinion. So now we're also starting to see stories about Tony Busby. And did he do some wrongdoing? And he's getting sued for things. I have no clue if he's ever done anything wrong in his life. I don't know the man, and I don't know the stories well enough to comment on whether or not what he did is right or wrong, or if there's any truth to it. But, you know, I think a cautionary tale here is Michael Avenatti, who's Stormy Daniels' attorney, right? We all remember that guy shot to fame so fast, and everyone loved him because they could not wait to take down Trump with this porn star who he had paid off. But people didn't do their research. And then all of a sudden, this guy, Michael Avenatti, who was the hottest attorney in the country, who was on the way to like a political career and fame and fortune, where is he now? He's in federal prison because it also turned out he had blackmailed the executives of Nike for trying to do a smear campaign against them. So we're just at the beginning stages of the power of the media and people with malicious intent can do. And I think we're going to see a really ugly play out here.
Michael Avenatti, I haven't heard that name or thought about him in a while because you're right, he is in federal prison now. But you're good to remind us too that what we've been talking about today has been civil lawsuits, these allegations separate from the criminal ones that Diddy is facing. But it also begs the question, could the feds that eventually arrested P. Diddy, he's now charged federally, could they be taking a closer look at Jay-Z now that his name is out there in the public?
They could be, but they certainly haven't tipped their hand at all. It was a much clearer path to see that Diddy was going to get indicted and that Diddy was going to have some real criminal legal issues ahead of him. Right now, all we have are allegations, and I'm sure there is evidence behind those allegations on both sides, both for innocence and for guilt, that people are looking at. But at the moment, it doesn't seem close to transitioning to any sort of criminal charges, to me.
We're getting closer to 2025, just days, hours away at this point, and that means we will be in the same year as this trial is set to begin. I believe it's May 5th is jury selection for Diddy. What do you think about that? It's a pretty quick turnaround in my mind, but what are your thoughts? Will both sides be ready?
Well, I don't know. It is a quick turnaround. It's a very quick turnaround, especially when there's this dearth of evidence. You're talking about potentially 150 witnesses. To be able to prepare for something like that is a monumental task. But Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, is incredibly skilled. He's incredibly talented and hardworking, and he has a team of people who can help him prepare. And again, like Jay-Z, so far, everything they've said to the media is we are going to push this as fast and as hard as we can to get this to trial, because once we get it to trial, we will be able to exonerate our client. And so that's really going to tell you everything you need to know about this case. Do they follow that timeline? Or in April and March, are they saying, well, actually, we need some more time. Maybe we push this off to November or something like that. We don't know yet. But right now, all signs that we have are that that is a very genuine request, and they very much want to get this to trial as fast as possible.
Criminal, civil, whatever it is, we're obviously following any updates in the Diddy story, now Jay-Z too. But Adam Conta, thanks for coming on and breaking down this specific motion today.
Thanks so much for having me.
As always, we've got to note that both Jay-Z and P. Diddy deny all the...
Bro, going into 2025 like this, it's gotta be insane. It's gotta be the most insane crap in the world. I mean, like, this is insane. So I think we're gonna stop it here, y'all. We've been going for like 3 hours. I think we're gonna stop it here. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Just wanna check one thing. Let's see. So yeah, be on the lookout for this this weird ass fucking bitch who likes who doesn't like invading people's privacy. Let's see. And we had another one too. Yeah, then I was like, show me your X account if you're real. This is how I verify my friends. And when you're just sitting high, it's just like, all right, man. Like, and to be honest, it's always coming from these weird ass fucking companies like Solana Tech and then Ethereum or .org. It's always coming from these fucking weirdos who sit here trying to like steal trying to steal crypto because it's like that's how scammers get their money. They have to scam for crypto because they know if they try to scam because they know that if they try to scam for anything else it'll be traced back. Which if they ever knew that crypto is it is traceable because you have the blockchain and the blockchain is very traceable. So if people didn't know that, like if you go on Etherscan, oh no, the only thing that can be traced on crypto is I believe like transaction wise. So if I send a oh shit, I think this is the wrong one. So if oops, I think it's Etherscan.com. I don't know. It's one of those two. Oh no, it's IO. Shit. Always forget, y'all. My bad. But yeah, the only way you can uh trace a transaction is if someone sends it over like this. So and this can be easily manipulated. Um, you know, you know what they do. They easily manipulate things. And that's what they do. They're whores. They're weirdos. And that's what they do. They like scamming. They're scammers. They like scamming people for crypto, and they're just trolls. They're scammers and they're trolls. So but yeah, we also got this coming out too. I'm designing my own Discord bot. So this is a test right here. I haven't got everything set up yet. But yeah, we have a lot of things in the making coming in 2025. So you guys be on the lookout, and we will be proceeding on with you guys. We will be proceeding on tomorrow. You know, we're gonna be doing this for a while. Hopefully we can get some people to join in and stay tuned and stuff like that. So if you're any of the viewers, this and that, you guys. Let's see. Happy 2025. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm excited for the new year. I mean, it's gonna be nice. Um, I don't think too much is gonna change. I think I'm just gonna go harder in terms of work. Go harder and try to make more money. I think that's the goal. Just try to make more money, try to make more relationships. Just try to be a better version of myself. Um, yeah, those are one of the three key things that I want to work on, or that I want to keep working on. Besides, you know, getting on, uh, besides just watching, you know, besides just watching celebrities like and watching people on the internet all day, every day. You know what I mean? It's like I've never been that type of person to do that. But I mean, look at this shit, dude. I mean, look at this
Which should have put you in a horrible.
They put, like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but they put two gay people on here, bro. Why can't they put a straight man on here? Why couldn't they put a man and a woman on here? What do you think what do you think the agenda they're trying to push? This dude's been on here probably the last five, maybe, 8 years or so, almost 10 years. It's just like, dude, we're tired of seeing gay people and like, I mean, we're just kind of sick of it, dog. I mean, it's just sick of it, man. It's just sick of it. So, um, yeah, here, we'll, this shit is fucking gay.
Okay. That wasn't good.
This guy looks like he's on
No, that
fucking
wasn't
boat.
good. That was. You know, it was styrofoam. I just want to say, like, there were hundreds of articles the next day saying I was hit in the head by debris.
Yes.
None of them said it was styrofoam, which
debris.
I pointed out immediately afterward. It was a
Okay.
piece of styrofoam.
Well, you're not implicated in anything. What happened as a result
What would
of
I have
the
been
debris?
implicated
What
in?
the Twittersphere,
Twittersphere.
Exosphere, I don't
Yes.
know, went crazy. Anderson Cooper is out here getting doinked. Okay, keep going. There's more. Basically, they felt that after
This
the
shit,
year that you
bro,
have had,
I'm not trying to be mean, dog. I'm not trying to be mean. But anybody who's tuning into this, you have no life. You have no life. Like you have pretty much sacrificed your whole life to be sitting here celebrating like if you're gonna celebrate, just celebrate with your family, celebrate with your friends, celebrate with someone. Don't sit here and celebrate on the TV network. On the TV network that don't give a damn about you. That don't give a damn about you. They're doing this for ratings. It's only for ratings. And it's just completely sad. So hopefully you're with people who actually give a fuck about you, who actually care. And look, home, we'll just watch it over.
And welcome back to our New Year.
I mean, I would love to be in New York, dead ass. I would love to be in New York. I wouldn't be here though. I wouldn't be downtown.
And welcome back to our New Year's
wouldn't be
Eve
here.
bash in Times Square. The rain is coming
Or
down. The crowds
I
are still
wouldn't be here in
enthusiastic
Times
as we
Square,
bring in the
dog.
new year and remember the best of
Wouldn't be
2024.
here in Times Square listening to these two gay people who love you know what in their mouth. So yeah. Who else? MS and these what other news channel is doing this? What other news channel has a live going on? Trying to think. There's another. There must be another news channel. No, it's just CNN. It's just CNN. Okay, so yeah, there you go, guys. Yeah, just disgusting. Just disgusting. Like I would probably go downtown just to watch the ball drop. Like I just want to see the ball drop. Pause. I just want to see the ball drop. Pause. But that's about it. Other than that, I don't. This is so.
That time, taking a live look here at Times Square in
This is clown shit. This is clown shit. But yeah, I'll see you guys. See you guys tomorrow. We'll do this tomorrow. We'll get this going tomorrow. And yeah, be on the lookout for this person, and definitely this person. Like they don't even have a freaking picture on here. Spy by Eve. Like who are you? Like who are you? Like are you a troll? Like look at this troll, man. Look at this troll. Look at these trolls. You're probably thinking, damn, do you have no friends? Yeah, because I don't make friends on the internet. I'm not trying to make friends on the internet. Like that's not what the internet's for, man. The internet's well, I mean, the internet's for, the internet's for making friends, but I mean, but what not like when you're younger. Like it's different when you're older. Like if you're younger, okay, yeah, we understand. Like or maybe you make friends like in the chat or something like that or whatever. But like people are just weird, man. People are just weird on the internet. And most of these people are very grown men. They're either really grown or they're really young. And most of them are probably really young. So I'm sure there's super little kids on here You know, they're like 15, 16 or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then some of them are my age, which is like in their late 20s. So I'm pretty fine with that. Just as long as you're not super old. You're not like a weirdo. Yeah. Excuse me, not as long as you're not like a pedophile. As you're not a pedophile in the chat, but yeah. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go downtown and see the ball drop. Probably gonna see what's going on downtown and see the ball drop. So I'll catch you guys on another live. And make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. I would appreciate that. See ya.